Today is the beginning of the end and the start of a new beginning. Time has come to redefine yourself and let go of the demons in your head that have held you in captivity for so long. It's time to flip the page and prove them wrong. It's time for rebirth. Yeah, time's up to say goodbye to all the haters, doubters, and non-believers trying to bring you down. In the blink of an eye, you'll realize that there's so much more to the book than the page you were stuck on. Finally, you will feel free to live a life you love living instead of the life you think other people want you to live. Remember, you're the highest authority when it comes to knowing what you want and what you love. So stop trading yourself for the approval from others. Ladies and gentlemen, weirdos and geeks, please repeat after me. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a I don't give a fuck. 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 It's time to start doing the right thing. So trust your instincts, stop listening to others, and own your decisions. People will always tell you what to do, opinion how to live. So let's create space for what matters most to you. You'll be glad you did. Now start claiming your time and your mental well-being by saying no more. No more. Say it loudly and proudly. In other words, fuck you. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
Target acquired.
Eagle 1, first strike. You have permission to engage the target.
Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Always have to include that mature audiences only thing. What's up, guys? How is everybody out there tonight? It's going to be an interesting night because Kat's actually doing her own show. I think I mentioned this before that her husband and her do a stream often involving Damon, the guy from London. So on Friday and Saturday nights. So she has not been around on the weekends. Plus, I think she's, at least during this election cycle, I think she might be a little tired of all the politics and financial talk, man prattle, if you will. And I think she's just kind of about had it with all of that. So that is totally cool. It's fine. It's no big deal. So we're going to talk about a couple of things tonight. I'm going to lead off with something I want the chat to know, especially the core guys, and I see most of the core people out there, and also the moderators. And so just so everybody knows, Mr. Boulay is the head moderator. I think I have another all-powerful moderator set up, but I'm not really I don't remember who I did that with. I think it's Kat, actually. It doesn't matter. As far as I'm concerned, Mr. Boulay is the head moderator. It seems like some other channels, not mine, but some other channels have had some problems with moderation lately. And I know that in the past, we've had some people, Beaten Cheeks especially, has complained about getting timed out and has actually said they won't come back on the channel because he feels like, or because several of them have complained that the mods have timed people out, seems like just for the fuck of it, for very minor infractions. So just so everyone knows, because this is going on a couple of other channels, it's barely happened on mine. So before we get to the point where we have to be dicks, and if people start getting up in their feels and everybody starts getting their dicks hurt, here's the thing. We don't time people out just for spurging out. We don't time people out for, just saying some hateful shit. We don't time people that, look, if you're going to time somebody out, if there's actually spamming things over and over again, sure, time them out. If they're violating TOS, time the fuckers out. If they do it again, fucking ban them. But that's got to be a TOS, like right next to TOS break, right? You know what I'm saying? Like shit that can get us, can get me pulled off the air or catch a strike, right? Like, I don't want any strikes. I got 0 strikes. We don't want any strikes. So let's not fuck around about this. I programmed the bot to post the rules we live by every 45 minutes. But this has to go now. This is the way it is going to be now. I don't know what I don't care what we did before. If we have to, if you have to talk to the other mods, because not everybody's here right now, make sure that you mods get together, talk amongst yourselves, sort it the fuck out. But I don't want to have any of the shit that's happening on other channels happen here. Okay, is that cool, guys? We all good? And I don't mean to call you out publicly, but unfortunately, the chat has to know this too, right? Like the chat, don't come close to TOS, man. Most of you guys are really cool, but every now and again, I'll get a guy in here or a girl that will be a dick, and I just don't want. I don't want them to have any. I don't want there to be any misunderstandings, right? Like, I don't intend to time people out for disagreeing with me, for spurging out, for ranting, raving, shit like that. But to get close to that TOS line, you got to go. Right. I know other channels, and I understand, a couple of, you look at a big site like the Crucible, and their moderation tactics are a lot different. I can't do what they do. Right. And we don't need to do what they do. So I just want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. No misunderstandings. The chat knows, the mods know, I know. We all talked about it together, or at least you heard me tell you what's going to happen all at the same time. And that's the way it's got to be. I'm going to play a video. I was going to wait, a little bit, but I'm going to play a video that was released yesterday. I don't know how many of you guys have seen it. It means a lot. I was actually hoping to have and maybe I'll wait for the Michigan Christian guy to get here because I think that he would appreciate being a part of it. I'm going to play a video. Well, I guess I'll do it a little later. It's a really good video. You guys are going to like it. We're just going to talk about some of the subject matter. One of the things we want to talk about tonight is strong women, right? In a private discussion earlier this week, that actually had nothing to do with YouTube. I was talking to somebody, and they have this ideal in their head that I guess from their point of view, and I'm going to characterize this very poorly, I did not record the conversation. I did not take notes. So we're going off my memory. I'm old, so if it's fucked up, you guys are just gonna have to live with it. So, basically, the way it was characterized to me was that, in his opinion, all women that were not, I guess, meek, submissive, whatever, were by nature feminist, and therefore they, he didn't feel like he felt like it was very hard for him to find those women to date. And I had to correct him quite a bit, and I think that this might be something that's really prevalent in the manosphere, red pill, especially the red pill space, is this idea that women have to be submissive to everyone, right? And that's simply not the case. I mean, the case is that they obviously need to submit to their husband, but that's pretty much it, right? Like, they can be a raving bitch to everyone else. Just because a woman is disagreeable, I don't think. And Michelle, you're welcome to join me up here. I see you out there, and I know you're going to have an opinion on this. You're welcome to join me and express your opinion on this. And Arthur Dye as well. You are certainly welcome. I will give me 1 sec. I'll throw the link out there to the head mod, and he can disseminate it as he sees fit. He now has that, so you guys are welcome to come up. All right, so so this was like a couple of hour long conversation that I had with this young man, because he felt like that, it was, man, I don't know. It was just so fucked up. I can't even, it's hard for me even to say this kind of stuff. But, my wife is a very strong woman, and she is, well, I don't think she's particularly disagreeable myself. She works in a high stress, high performing career that she chose to be in. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like, that has nothing to do with our relationship. The way that she treats me and my sons and her parents and the people that are actually in her sphere is completely different than the people that the way she treats people at work, out in public, clients, and all of that. So it's a very interesting, thought process that I don't think is very clarified by the red pill folk. So yeah. Hey, thanks, Shelby. It's all good, man. It doesn't matter. But so it's an interesting thing, because I have often said that, I've often said that one of the problems I always had finding a suitable girlfriend was that I have such a strong personality that I basically just roll right over meek, submissive, whatever women. I literally just roll right over them, and they become very uninteresting very, very quickly. So I purposefully sought out very strong-willed women. And I think most men should, especially if you're going to be what you want to call a high-value man, an alpha. Then why are you why are you wanting the weakest amongst us? Like, why would you want that? That seems counterintuitive. So the is a really good conversation, and I had to think about it. I really, like I said, it was. I was actually kind of hoping Kat would be here because she seems very submissive, but we also know that she's very, very strong-willed, right? Like we've seen that side of her, and so there's a and it may just be a subset of men, right, that would look at her and say, well, she's a poor wife. She's not wife material because she has this core strength. She has this drive to go do something with her life, right? Which she doesn't. Obviously, she's a housewife, but in a way, she does. She wants to be. She wants to do other things. So, I think that it's an interesting dynamic. I would welcome questions and or comments. I don't have the comments up on my big screen at all. So give me 1 second. I got to look at the small screen, and I will not be looking at the camera at all while I try and read back to see what you guys are saying. I just think it's really interesting that if you are really that strong-willed a man, if you were that badass, if you were that cool, why do you want a shrinking violet for your mate? I mean, you look at I'm going to pick on Andrew Wilson, right? Because we all know who he is. We've all watched him and Rachel interact. I wouldn't want to fight Rachel, right? I mean, she's tough, man. She works out. She's she's tough, right? Like, I'd take some damage in that deal. Most of us would probably not really want to debate her. But you look at Andrew, and that works perfectly, right? It's a great pairing, if you will. So why would you want, and I never could understand that. Like I had to have, now obviously I dated many, lesser, I dated a lot of women that when I was younger, I dated a lot of women that were, not strong-willed, did not have a drive to do much more than just date around, right? And then I met my wife. My wife is perfect for me. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. And that's because she can match my energy pretty perfectly. She can stand up and withstand the force that I put out. She will call me on it, or even earlier today, it's like, I was distracted. She called me, some little thing, getting the kids ready for school. And I started to kind of get a little testy about it. I needed to get some stuff done. And she called me out on it. She's like, hey, don't treat me like I'm stupid. I'm smart enough to understand this. You need to, you need to back off. And I did. I was in the wrong. I actually, was not in the right on that one. So, yeah. And that's actually, Arthur Dia, that was perfect timing when you said that. Yeah. Rachel, Andrew has said that, one of the things that drew him to her was that he could debate her like for hours and neither one of them get bent or, feel like it was just a stupid thing to do. So I gotta understand. I'm trying to understand when people who are in theory these alpha types, these go-getters, you know, conquering the world. Why do they go after weak women? Or why do they seem to communicate that what they want are weak women? And why is and we know that that's the case because this is what a lot of men who try to emulate those men get out of what they're saying, is that they're going after these weak, submissive women, supposedly submissive women, which in general, they're not even submissive. What they are is they're duplicitous. And as soon as they can, they're going to stab you in the back. Right. I said duplicitous. I use big words. I'm a redneck, but I'm a educated redneck. So, you know, it is what it is. Arthur Dyer, do you want to come up or are you working? You need to multitask. Well, okay. That's okay. It's okay. I can just continue to monologue. It would just be better if I had someone to bounce ideas off. Did Michelle run away from the chat, or does she not want to come up? Or Serene, or anybody? I don't care. You know, whoever wants to come up. I think Michigan Christian's going to come up when he gets back. I think he's out doing something cool this evening. Whoa! What happened there? What the fuck? Why did that? That's not. Interesting. All right. I lost my chat. Where's my chat? How did that open up? There we go. What's up, Flow State? Flow State's my new big friend, I guess. You just got home from work. All right, Flow State, that's cool. I'm sorry that's just not going to happen, brother. I do appreciate the effort, though. That's okay, Serene. It is. It's totally cool. Welcome, Jess. How are you? All right. Well, while we're waiting on Arthur Dyer, I just think it's an interesting thing that a lot of just a lot of this nonsense that I hear from both sides. I hear it a lot from the red pill. I really wish Glenn was on. Glenn's taking some time off today, I think. Who joined? There we go. Oh, look, it's Arthur Dyer. How are you?
Testing 1, 2, 3. Is my sound
Yeah, we
actually
can
working
hear you.
right?
Yeah, see how that works when you
We
do it
women
right.
are somewhat trainable to get technology.
Trainable is a great word. Trainable is a great word. There's a Clover Tack. I bet he has some opinions on that.
But in my own life, I've seen it go kind of one or two ways.
Mm-hmm.
I work with a lot of physicians, and the men tend to be very alpha types.
Yeah,
In
God
terms of
complex.
personality, they have big egos often, and they're demanding of excellence, and they work very hard. And some of them prefer having a very feminine, submissive, stay-at-home wife. And then there's others that go and they want to marry a woman that's more their equal in terms of educational level. And so they'll often marry another doctor, if not someone like a pharmacist or like someone in the medical field that's kind of equal to their level. And they want someone who's tends to be more of a strong personality, with the idea that they'll be a power couple.
Yeah, I mean that's but see, this is exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about, though. Like, I don't necessarily see the need for it to be. It should not. Should not be mutually exclusive. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And in my case, it's not, right. Like my wife is very smart. Actually, she's maybe even smarter than me. She's certainly very strong willed, and the and she's very driven. So I guess what I'm saying is that you will hear people say quite often that they don't want a woman who wants to work, but somehow they want a woman that can run a household and be submissive to them and run up, take care of the kids, all of that, while somehow being at the same time faithful and everything else. And I'm sure that those people exist, right? Like, I'm sure that happens. But in my case, it was always that when I found what I consider to be weak women, right? Women that were, man, for lack of a better word, just, they had no desire to work. They were really, we used to joke about it in college that they were looking to get their MRS instead of the BA, right? And their entire motivation was to be whatever you needed them to be to get married, and that was it. And then after that, then all they wanted to do was stay home and pop out kids, and that was it. And that, to me, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the type of woman that wants to raise kids in a way that's meaningful and do things and take care of a household. What I'm looking at there is someone that is looking for the easy way out. And so Ghost 1978 is gifted 5 memberships to viewers.
Thank you, Ghost. Very kind.
5 memberships. Crank them out, guys. Crank them out. Oh, Glenn Lawrence is in the chat. Glenn, I sent you a link. You should be up here, brother. You should be up here. Get in here. This is a good one because this is something that you know a lot about.
So if I were a man looking for a woman, I would want a woman who was smart, so she would teach my kids properly, and who was competent to raise a house and manage the finances, where I didn't always have to be worrying about things when I wasn't there micromanaging everything. So you take like a
Right.
Rachel, and Andrew can go off on business trip for, was it 2 weeks or whatever he was done. He
Mhm.
knows Rachel is going to be there managing his Crucible business, which at this point it is a business as a content creator. She's going to
Yeah.
be handling all that for him. She's going to be homeschooling his kids. She's going to keep the household running. She's going to be managing the finances. The bills are going to get paid. He's not going to come home to crazy spending that went on behind his back while he was gone. You know, he knows that she's a competent, capable woman to keep the household running while he's off. And I would think that's what a man would want, not someone that needs constant supervision to make sure she's on the right track.
Yeah, I mean, and I agree with that, right? So I think that's like the bare minimum. Though. I'm saying that I take this even a little further and say that what I want is, and I say this in the most modest way I can, is I want a woman that literally destroys everyone else but submits to me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's what I want. Have you ever read like old books, like the way they talk back in the, you know, like in the 20s or earlier, right? And they talk about, and you know, like even in Shakespeare, they talk about conquering the woman, right? And these sorts of things. But I don't think that was necessarily physical. I think a lot of it had to do with mental, because these were very strong women that could run, that knew that they were being trained to run households, that they were learning how to be they were learning how to do many things. And you know, part of that was you know, why did it do that? Oh, it doesn't matter anyway. So it sounds like I'm saying something different, that women should be disagreeable or whatever, and that's really not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that if you're going to have this dynamic of let me put that there.
I think what you may be trying to get at is that it is a sign of the utmost love and respect to give that submission willingly, not because I'm forced into it, or because I can't go do things all on my own or can't come up with decisions on my own, but because I respect you as the leader of the household, I am willing to submit to that. And that's a sign of love and respect that a wife gives her husband. And in return, he's supposed to be loving her and doing things for the benefit of them together in the household. But if you basically have like some weakling who almost has no choice but to submit because she can't come up with anything on her own and just can't handle life, it's not as meaningful, I don't think.
There's the tack. What's up, Clover Tack?
Hey. You got like a little bitty icon. What's going on there? That's weird.
Well, you didn't cam up, so you don't get the big picture.
No, usually it's bigger though on this platform.
I know. Well,
you're sharing.
I do that on purpose. It can be. I can do it like this, but I don't like that because it makes me look small.
No, it's still not. It's still not big for some reason. I don't know what's going on. It's weird.
It's normal to me.
No, it's been bigger than that. It's what I know. What's wrong? It's flipped vertical instead of horizontal. Because when I logged in, I seen the black bars on either side. But I don't know why it flipped all of a sudden. That was weird. But anyway,
I did that.
Off topic. Who cares?
Yeah. All right. So, what do you think about this, Clover Tack?
Submissive versus strong woman?
No. So, do you think that's
what Boulay said? I blame him.
Okay. So let's. So I maintain. So I had a discussion with a fellow. He's, I don't know how old he is. Probably like 28. He might be 30. I doubt it. Probably 28, 20, 26, 27, 28, somewhere along there. He's talking about how when Arthur Dye, you're getting feedback for some reason.
Sorry, I don't know. I'll just mute myself when I'm not talking.
Okay,
That works.
that's cool. That's that cell phone thing going on. And basically he was like, well, I can't find a submissive woman. They're all, it's all nonsense. It's all garbage. Can't find anything. I don't know where you guys find these submissive, but strong women that, whatever. And I'm like, well, actually he didn't say, but strong. I said that. And I'm like, well, what are you talking about? You want a submissive woman. And I'm like, I don't think that's what you want. What you want is you want a woman that's willing to submit to you as her husband once you get to the point of marriage. I mean, and in the relationship, she should maybe follow your lead, but I mean, what have you done for her at that point? You're not invested in her at all, right? There's no ring on that finger, as they say. And I was trying really hard to have a clearer picture to paint, because if you listen, because when I start, listen to his interpretation of what Red Pill and what's the other one? Manosphere, that sort of thing, right, has to say is, that you should not want a woman who wants to work or have a job or be successful or any of that, which I think is a dumbed down version of what the actual intent is. Ideally, you want to be able to provide for your woman, but I would say that it would be far more preferable to have a very smart, resourceful woman who could lead, right, than a doormat, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like every king has a queen. That if the king becomes ill, the queen can step in until the king is back on the throne, or whatever the case may be, right? So there's that kind of thing. But as long as the king is on the throne, the queen is submissive to the king.
Right. So, I always go back to this idea that I say all the time, that when we talk about women not working throughout history, you have to understand that they ran households that, in most cases, included maybe several families that all worked together on a ranch or a farm, right? And they children, relatives, had to get all the laundry done, have to get all the food prepared, have to make sure you have enough food for winter. And they're doing all of this while the man was off doing the man stuff, right? Driving cattle or plowing fields or mining gold, whatever the fuck the men did, fighting in a war, sailing off in a ship somewhere. And the woman had to be strong enough to run that household. So I think it's a misnomer. I think it's a mischaracterization, actually, of how men want to view stronger women.
Well, if you have so I don't know. I think maybe the wording is weird, because we're saying submissive and then we're saying strong. Well, the opposite of strong is weak, and weak is different than submissive.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, just that wording alone is kind of, I don't know, it's just kind of weird to me. But I think we're a lot of the younger crowd get it wrong, like the kiddo or whatever you were talking to, and I use kiddo, everybody younger than me pretty much. But anyway, is even in the relationship dating phase, no ring on it situation, the man's got to set the tone. He's got to set the pace. And one of the most simplest things, and it has become a trope and a meme and everything else. Where do you want to eat? 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 Right? Oh, fuck that. I'm going to eat where I want to eat. And occasionally, because I know, and I've put in the time, listening, paying attention, and men should study, right? They should study humanity around them, including their chick, to be able to know, okay, within a couple of months of dating, you should know a few of her favorite types of food, right? Or something along that line. You should have that basic knowledge, I would think. to like know, okay, well, she likes Mexican food or whatever, right?
Mhm.
And then so, no, fuck this. Where do you want to eat? Just pick a if you want to cater to her, right? Or maybe cater her not to where, but you know what I'm saying. Do something nice, like, okay, I know she likes Mexican food, so you know that's where we're gonna go. Don't ask her. Just set it up and say, hey, we're going out to eat. Let's go. Like, get in the truck. Let's go. Right? You show up, you pull in, it's a Mexican food joint. She's happy, you know, and you haven't, um, you know, you've made that decision, right? You've set that tone.
Right.
I do think the word submissive somehow has gotten conflated to mean weak when it doesn't. If you take like the hierarchy structure of the military, the captain submits to the major, submits to the lieutenant colonel, to the colonel, and not because they're weaker than the others. It's because that's the structure of how the leadership is going to be. And I think it's the same in the household.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, guys. I got.
Another sort of interesting take that occurred to me is that here on the Whatever podcast, where they kind of make a joke of it, of the women all want to tout what, especially the OnlyFans crowd, want to tout what great businesses they're running and they're making all this money and blah, blah. And then Andrew and Brian put them down and say, yeah, we don't really care about your job or your career. That's not what attracts you to us. And certainly I get it from a man's perspective that that's not what's necessarily attractive about a woman is her career choice or whatever. I would say though that I think the reason so many marriages fail is that people do not plan out things such as how they're going to run their finances, how they're going to deal with in-laws, how they're going to raise their children. They're doing it purely based on attraction. And so if you're a guy who has a typical job that where you're earning, we'll say $65,000 a year, I don't know that you can make it in this economy with a larger family without a second income. And so you may want to look for a woman whose income can complement yours on some level and figure out how are we going to combine our resources to earn enough money to to care for children at the same time. Not saying the wife has to work, but that's an economic reality for many families today. They can't make it without that wife's contribution to the household income.
Well, and that would not be, in my opinion, that would not be optimal, right? But at the same time, that's better than a divorce and a split family,
Sure.
situation.
I mean, optimal would be every guy earns 100,000, which is what the news is telling me now. You need to be just middle class with the cost of everything. And that's not the reality for most men who are working.
Yeah, and sadly, when you get into, especially if you're talking about younger kids, and you're not, you don't have generational family around to be able to pick up slack and do some things, when you've got, before school age, especially, then it gets really tough. Even if, depending on the education level and experience level and other things, even if one of the, both of the parents want to try to work or whatever, childcare eats it up. So it really makes no sense by the time you got the added fuel and the back and forth to childcare plus the cost of childcare plus all of the other things that you've got to do. You could maybe lower your standard of living, do something like that, muddle through at least to school age, which I mean, you're looking at what, 5 years? I mean, some places have, pre-K as early as I think it's 4 years, and then kind of go from there. But it also gets into the planning, I think you hit the nail on the head that so many people get into the relationship and it's just fly by the seat of their pants, type stuff. And you can't, I don't get people how, and I think it's societal, a lot of it, but, and laziness, I think too, to an extent, but I don't know how people, go through life without having goals, and at least not that they've got them written down and they're, whether in stone or like anything like that, but you know, how you don't have goals and you haven't discussed with that that other person, you know, the pathways to achieve those goals and things like that is freaking beyond me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, your average family today can't come up with $400 for an emergency, and households often pile up quite a bit of credit card debt, which leads to financial stress, and that breaks apart marriages. So it's something that does need to be considered when you're planning on forming a marriage and a family together. Even though, yes, it's not sexy and it's not what attracts people, and you absolutely need sexual attraction and physical attraction before you marry someone, but it can't be the only foundation for a marriage.
So that's all really, it's all really interesting but so let's say we're dating. Let's say not we're dating. Let's say that a couple is dating, they've met, they like each other, everything's cool, but you know, she's still kind of, you know, sassy, right? A little sassy. She's used to her freedom, she likes her freedom, and for whatever reason, Chucklehead thinks that she absolute must defer to him, or submit to him, defer to him for all the dates. He is courting her, so in his mind, there's a way that that's supposed to go, and she's not playing ball with that because she has, you know, a lot more. What's the word I'm looking for? Independence. She's an independent woman, not feminist. Okay, let's not conflate the two, but independent. Also, let me take a minute here. Jess White has now gifted 10 total memberships, and that is amazing. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Jess White.
Major thanks, Jess. That's awesome.
That is very awesome. And I get to hear that go off for the next few minutes along with all of you guys. So with the way the red pill is interpreted by many, that would not be marriage material. However, to me, that's kind of what I was looking for the whole time, right? And I told him that. I told the guy, you know, I understand what the books say, and I understand that you don't want a disagreeable woman, you want peace when you come home and all of that, but I don't think what he was describing of her actions, they weren't particularly feminist. If anything, I think that they were, you know, she was more of a pretty conservative Christian. I mean, I've only the description to go by. I'm not going to.
For me, the concern there would be someone that likes their freedom, because when you are getting married, it's no longer about your freedom. All of your resources and everything you do has to be for the good of the family. And certainly you work with your spouse to make sure that each of your own needs and preferences are being addressed and fulfilled. But you can't just have your freedom and your independence all the time to the exclusion of what's good for the family, especially when you start having kids. You guys, I don't have kids. You guys know that better than I do, that suddenly everything you do has to be oriented around how are we caring for the kids during this.
I don't think it's that. I don't think when you're dating, any of that is really the issue. The issue is she so independent that if we have a fight, will she leave me? Is she so independent that I may not be able to control her once we're married? May not, and that may, and honestly, for all of his stressing about it, he'd never actually sat down and talked to her. According to him, I have only his word to go by on this, right? And but I will say that I think that that's most people do not sit down and say, "Hey, listen, things are getting pretty serious. I like you. You're pretty cool. this is what I expect going down the road. Are you cool with that? Is it something we can kind of maybe grow into and look, take a look at, or is this like a complete deal breaker, and we need just, we can be, we can be fuck buddies for a while until we each find somebody else? Is that, because I think somebody, sometimes you just have this, men and women both have this mental block when it comes to relationships, and we are allowing so many external forces today. I don't feel like I had that many external forces when I got married 19 years ago, but today, like literally, I'm listening to a young man who should be concentrating on his job and getting into a better living situation. He's overpaying for his apartment. I told him that what we started off this whole conversation talking about, he wanted to understand how I had retired so early and how everything worked out for me. And I told him, I said, first thing I did is I never paid $1,300 a fucking month for a 1-bedroom apartment when I was a single dude. Like, that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard of. And and so, that I when I told him that, he looked very bashful, right? But that's the way it is. And so we started off there, and then we kind of got into his girlfriend, and his girlfriend sounds like a fucking legend, honestly. Just from description, I've not met the girl. She could be a raving bitch. I don't know. I'm just saying. Descriptors matter. Jess White, Australian $10 from Jess White. You look after your mates, and your mates look after you. Perfect.
That was an excellent accent.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jack.
There's a difference between, because we're all our own people, right? Male or female, it doesn't matter. And for me, in my life, it's always been an opposites attract type thing any fucking way. Except for, some core value stuff. But, I think that being, independent, as you say, or, strong or independent, in the good sense, not in the feminist sense, part of that, could potentially be part of the package that attracts you to that person, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so what you've got to try to discern from there is this a part of their natural state, or is this an exit strategy safety net they're fucking building? Because there is a difference. And one of the ways I think that you tell the difference is by talking about, again, the future and those goals and whatever. Is she, he, whatever, in this case, talking about this kid or whatever it be, she, when they talk about stuff, is she talking about him in the future? Right? When she talks about things that she's doing in the future, does she talk about him in the picture and what he would be doing, or how what she wants to do would affect him in the future, and vice versa?
That's a
Are you
fucking
there?
great.
And all you gotta do is listen. And if the chick is not, if you're not in the picture with her, what she's talking about in the future, pull the ripcord, brother. Get the hell out.
Yeah.
But if she's going, I'm really thinking that I want to do X, Y, and Z. And when I do X, Y, Z, we will be able to do this and we will be able to do that. And, after I do this, then you could possibly go and do X, Y, and Z. Maybe if you wanted to go do this over here, that's beautiful. That's what you want. Right? But if it's me, I, me, I, fuck that. Ripcord, get the hell out.
What if someone's not willing to give up something for you? And you're not willing to give up something for them, is it really a relationship?
Well, if you're not seeing I don't think so. No, and because it's to an extent it's a give and take, and then it's an exchange, and then the same goes for, maybe it's not even to the point of being able to give anything up. Maybe it's just the fact that, like I said, you're looking toward the future, and you're okay, or she's okay with giving things up. Right? It hadn't happened yet. It may not ever happen. But that if it gets to that point, at least that they're okay with it.
Yeah, that's about right. Anyway, I just told the guy that if he, because, and I don't know that he has that strong a personality, but I believe so. Once again, Jess White is gifted another 10 memberships.
Jess is a
Falling out with
legend
membership.
tonight.
Go get all your friends and tell them to come get a membership.
I might even admit that Australia is a real country at this rate.
Yeah, right. Well, at least they have real money. That's all that matters. We take monopoly money here. That's fine. So, where I left it with him is that if you were afraid of being less because of the woman, then you probably should not be dating her, right? Because you both will give up something, but what you give up will gain you more, and you will become better as a result of it. That's my honest opinion. And so it's I don't know, it's really interesting dynamic. I'm really glad to get some opinions on it. I'm going to play a video here in a second. That this came up today in my feed. It actually was released yesterday. So for some reason, it did not show on my feed yesterday. But things happen. But this is really good. We're gonna talk about it a little bit. So, so there we go. Why did that? Oh, here we go. I have to scroll up to it, and there we go. We're on screen, and now we're going to hit play.
It's August 8th, 2024. Exactly 1 year after Richmond, north of Richmond, was uploaded on Radio WV. And I'm trying.
If you guys don't know who this is Oliver Anthony. His name is Chris. He wrote the song Richmond, North of Richmond, and they released it. He played. The video was made for like no money. It was a camera in the woods on property that he owns with his dog sitting there. It went super viral, and he's been on a world tour ever since. He does not have, and he'll tell you in a minute, doesn't have a record company or a record contract. He doesn't have any of the crap that other artists have. And you got to listen to this guy's perspective.
Trying to grant myself the time to go on a nice walk and reflect back on my year and tell you what I'm thinking, tell you what I have planned for the future. I have a lot of things to talk about because I haven't been talking a lot lately. And so we're going to play catch up today. And I don't know how this video is going to end up because, as always, they're unscripted and they're chaotic. And I'm walking around in the woods in the middle of a hurricane. And so I don't see how anything could go wrong. I think we're in good shape. I wanted to show you real quick while we're here. This is where I filmed Cowboys and Sunset. And even with just a couple hours of rain so far, creeks are filling up. And I'd say in the next couple hours, even right here where I stand, will be completely underwater. The water line will go all the way up to there, all the way up to the top of this in just maybe the next couple hours. All right, so before we get into all the good, gossipy, juicy stuff, the most important thing that I want to tell you that I want to get across while you're still here watching is that I appreciate you. I'm almost through this tour this year. I have done it without a label. I've done it without any sponsors. I haven't taken a dime from anyone. You guys have made this possible. You guys have, by the Lord's will, you guys have really, truly changed my life forever. I never have to work again for the rest of my life. If I deleted all my social media accounts and I just wrote songs and uploaded them and I head out here in the woods for the rest of my life, just the interest off the money I've made already would at least buy my groceries and keep my family comfortable, and that means a lot to me. That is the only financial goal I had, was just to be financially free. To not owe anything to a bank or to another man. To just have my land and a house with a roof that doesn't leak.
How simple is that?
What's phenomenal is turned down $1 million offer.
Oh, he's turned down several $1 million offers. It's phenomenal, and we often talk about how there are no people out there, and it cannot be done. And just listen to this young man. This young man is amazing.
And a place that I can grow a garden and raise a few cows and sheep and be alive and try to live my life the way my grandparents lived their lives. I despise this world, and I despise the way this world's headed. And I want to be out here, away from it. And so first and foremost, thank you. I thought about what I wanted to do now, because I don't really have to do anything at all. But the second that thought entered my mind, the one immediately after was that I am in debt. I'm in debt to you. You and I have built a relationship out of trust. You have counted on me to represent you, to try to be maybe one of the few normal voices that you have in this wicked world where everything is about control and power and manipulation. It's about keeping you distracted and angry and stupid. And I know that if you're watching this, you most likely despise this world just as much as I do. And I cannot just delete all my stuff and run away now. This is only the beginning.
Are you muted?
Sorry, my mic was picking up the audio, so I muted myself. That's a pretty incredible statement, right? Like, to say that he could delete everything and run away, never work again another day in his life, could live off the interest of the money he's already made, but he's not going to do that. It's very interesting. He also calls it out for being a wicked world. He calls it out for being what it is. And I think this whole thing is really, really interesting. We'll move on again.
I have learned that there are a lot of regular people left in this not so regular world. There's a lot of good families. There's a lot of hardworking men and women in the United States, but also in Europe and Scotland and Ireland and Norway and Sweden. And I've talked to a lot of people. I've shaken a lot of people's hands. I've heard a lot of stories. I realize that the shitstorm that we have just entered in, maybe in the last 2 decades, the unsustainable deficit and the groceries going through the roof, and the fuel prices going through the roof, and the dollar being devalued, the over excessive printing of money, the constant psychological warfare that your kids, that your neighbors are experiencing daily through social media, through YouTube and television. And we talk about how manipulative news networks are. We don't really talk about how manipulative social media is. How artificial intelligence is making it so captivating and so addicting. It's making your brain want more and more of it. That algorithm is, to me, it is a machine of true psychological warfare. It is, I believe that it could even be argued in of itself a form of hypnotism. And it's difficult for me to want to post on these platforms because although I know I need a way to get to you and I know there's a way that we need to communicate, I feel like I'm serving the machine that I despise every time I upload something on one of these platforms. I just love to see the world go back to a time where we were really living and we weren't stuck in this sort of dreamlike state that we're in. I believe that social media and the internet in general it's almost taken some of us away from our own consciousness, from our own awareness of what's going on in the world. We truly are hypnotized. And now that artificial intelligence is creating music, it's creating art, where does it end? I think the only way that we ever return to normal is by exiting from this dystopian technological nightmare, this new form of war machine that has encapsulated not only North America or Canada or Europe, but it's in Russia, it's in China, it's now in the Middle East. There's satellites going up every day. And I don't think it's a secret to anyone that the goal of all this is to have every square inch of this earth connected. And these phones, like, ever since the Patriot Act, these phones can just listen to us. It's like, and we all talk about it, and we all know it. We're so distracted. We're so lost. I'm afraid that we don't realize just how far we've went. I believe that we may even truly now be in a free fall state. And some of us are starting to feel the pains of that. It's hard to keep up with bills. It's hard. You can't afford to buy a house anymore. You can't hardly afford to rent a house. Everything's expensive and it's poorly made. And just the tail end, the lower class, the lower middle class are starting to feel that pain more and more every year incrementally. But I believe we will hit it. We will finally hit the bottom of this free fall state. And those of us who are still comfortable and still complacent and still able to just sit around and ignore what's going on, it's going to start affecting those people directly too. And we will have no plan. We'll have no idea what's even going on. This hurricane reminded me when I was a kid, I can't remember which hurricane it was. It might have been Hurricane Isabel. We had a bad one that came through in like 2003 or 2004 through Virginia, and it was 2 days of the power being out. And I remember we went by the gas station to try to get gasoline for a generator, and there was literally people out fist fighting over a gas pump. Line wrapped all the way around the building. And I realized then that as a kid, or as probably a young teenager at that point, that our society is that fragile that we can go 2 days without gasoline and people are willing to fist fight at the pump over it. Imagine if you don't get groceries for a week, or if the power grid goes down for any period of time. And it's hard to have a conversation about that without sounding so conspiratorial or so like, oh, it's the endo days and the lizard people are coming and all that. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying the system is already so fragile, and now it's so expensive, and the food is so bad for you, and our public education system is such an embarrassment. It is a predetermined lesson plan on some Chromebook that is sent to whatever teacher, and there's really no teachers truly teaching anymore. It's like everything in our country sucks. And I think we've lost our pride in our country. We've lost our pride in our traditions. People don't grow gardens anymore. They don't raise their own animals. People don't really do anything for themselves anymore. Everything's just a phone call away. It's just an Instacart or an Uber ride or an Angie's List away. And so it's like, if we want to get away from food being bad for us and being expensive, and if we're tired of paying so much in taxes, and if we're tired of living in this system where public education and college education manipulates our kids and turns them into kids who are confused and angry and bitter, if we feel like social media is controlling us and manipulating us and making billions of dollars off of us, I feel like social media is literally creating a machine to destroy us with the money that we give it by giving it our attention every day. So not only are we weakening our minds and destroying our minds, not only are we giving up our traditions and our values, we're getting disconnected from our kids and our wives, and our marriages are shit, and our families are shit, and our households are shit because we can't stop looking at these stupid phones. And all the money that is made from our personal information that is sold and our attention spans that are given is creating this dystopian AI monster. And now cars are full of technology, and so they watch where you drive. They listen to what you say while you're in the car. They understand where you go, at what time, and it's like all this data is being collected. And I'm not saying that it's being used for some conspiratorial end of the world thing, but no, it's just about control. They want to know everything you do. They want to know everything you think. We are all part of this mass behavioral study right now, I feel. So that's why it makes it hard for me to want to post on these platforms, or to me to want to be a part of this world. I just want to escape it. I just want to get away from it. I've given up on it. But I believe that just even in this community that has been built, there's enough good people that can all work with each other and network with each other enough. So maybe we at least have a fighting chance of not being stung so hard. And so I've taken the money that I've made from Richmond and I've started buying properties in West Virginia. I bought some abandoned farms in Virginia that I'm in the process of revitalizing, and I plan to turn these farms into places that people can go and learn how to can food, can learn how to raise animals.
You're muted.
Literally, as Mr. Boulay and Shelby were saying that, or not Mr. Boulay, Mr. Landers and Mr. Sirius Shelby don't know how to stockpile food or can or ferment food or enough land to raise livestock. Here he goes. Oh, wrong button.
People who have just gotten out of rehab, vets with PTSD, people who are depressed and suicidal, they can come here and get reconnected with nature. They can learn how to exist outside of a system that's been sort of placed on us as a generation. And I hope that we can start going back to the old way. I don't think there's any current option that moves us forward that does not detriment all of us on a global level. And I would love to see this community of people who believe in this, the people here in the States, my friends in Europe who are being spit on. I met so many good people in Europe, and I talked to them about their government and about their way of life, and they are overtaxed. Their countries are just being run into the ground, and many of them want secession, and violence is not the solution here. It's not about violence, it's about independence. It's like we're all volunteering to be a part of this. We're all playing this game. Let's just stop playing it for a little while. Grow your own food, raise a few of your own animals. You got a quarter acre in a neighborhood. You can raise meat birds in a chicken tractor, and you can eat good. You can at least cut 30 to 40% of your grocery bill down pretty minimally. And so I'm in the process of trying to at least start making these places where people can learn how to do that. And I just want to give people somewhere to go where they can live for a little bit. And if I'm going to make this money off of Richmond and off this tour, and I don't have any dumb shit to spend it on, like a Lamborghini or a big boat or a house in the Bahamas or any of that crap, then I might as well spend it to try to do some good and try to create something that exists long after I'm gone. That's kind of everything I've been focused on. And so the music has kind of sat on the back burner, and I've got at least 12 songs that I could stick on an album. And that I will stick on another album. It's always something in this crazy world that I'm living in now. It's good to just be back here and be able to breathe a little bit and be able to figure out what my purpose in all this is. And so moving into next year, I'm going to do these 12 shows in addition to all the other regular ones we do, in towns that have not had music in them in a long time, in towns and in cities and counties that are in a financial deficit, that are in a population deficit. My goal is to bring positive economic impact to rural parts of this country that desperately need it, where tradition still exists, where normal people still live. We need to bring our small towns back. And so I'm going to start with 12 shows next year that are completely independent of Ticketmaster or Live Nation or an amphitheater or a theater or a stadium. We're just going to go set up a 4-wall event somewhere, maybe on a main street, maybe in an old factory parking lot. We're going to have local vendors there. We're going to have local musicians opening the show. It is going to be a community event. It's not going to be an Oliver Anthony music show. I want to start doing things that make a difference, and things that also give the fans that have been so loyal to me this year a reason to keep coming back. I don't want you to pay $12 or $13 for a beer. I don't want you to pay $20 to park. I don't want you to deal with some rent-a-cop asshole kicking you out of a show because you were dancing too much or singing too loud. These are all things that happen all the time. They drive me crazy. So if I'm going to keep doing this, if I'm going to make this music thing a long-term part of my life, I've got to start doing it my way, independent of Nashville, independent of the music industry. It's just got to be DIY. And so between the farm properties that can start helping people in the shows, that can start helping the rural communities out, it's ambitious thinking, but I'd like to find a way to connect the community that I have in Europe and Australia with the community that I have here in the States. And I'd like to find a way to get all of y'all introduced.
Well, did you go to sleep?
There you
No,
go.
I think what's interesting about this guy is he lives what he preaches. He reportedly lives in a $750 trailer on a bunch of acres with his wife and now 3 kids. They just recently had a new baby.
Yeah.
And his tickets to his concerts are not expensive. They are often in like the $5 to $10 range, maybe up to $100 if you're like right at the edge of the the platform or stage where he's singing. But
Yeah, he actually canceled a show in East Tennessee because I think they told him the tickets were going to be $30 and the parking would be free, and they had plenty of parking and all that. And people started booking it, and the tickets were like $100 after all the fees and crap. And he canceled the show. He's like, I'm not going to do it there. I'll do it somewhere else. And he ended up doing it somewhere else for what he said. So, it's very interesting. I felt personally attacked when he talked about the Lamborghini and the boat.
Well, that's your career. I mean,
I felt personally attacked. I was like, wow, he's hit me right in my feels, bro. Right in my feels.
well, there's also this practical reality, though, is that if I'm working 12 hours a day, I really can't grow all my own food. I do have a little garden, but I can't grow most of my food. And I assume he wants someone to, he has to go into the hospital and have his baby.
I don't think he's talking about people growing that all of their own food. He's talking about the one thing he said that made a lot. I mean, it always makes sense, right? Is that you don't need that many chickens to have eggs and meat chickens. Well, he said meat birds because he's a farmer. You don't have to have that many. And Clover Tack will chime in a second and tell you to cut a significant amount of meat out of your, or of money out of your budget. And he said 30-40%. I believe it.
Yep. And
you don't need,
they replenish themselves pretty quickly.
Yeah.
You don't need, now you could get into brooders and you could get into all the other equipment, but honestly, nature's got everything you need. You don't even really need to do that.
Yeah. You just put them in a chicken tractor and let them and move them every day. Move it forward 10 feet. That's all you got to do. Mm-hmm. They live in that thing. And then, you have to learn how to butcher birds, right? Which,
yeah, you can build a plucking machine out of some rubber hose on an old washing machine pretty easily. Just saying.
Yeah.
Chop a head, throw it in there. It's not hard.
He's not wrong at all. And I mean, I think he's more right than he is wrong. And the fact that he's willing to put he already has put his money where his mouth is. Mm-hmm. I don't think he lives in the mobile home or the trailer anymore, or RV. I think it's an RV. I think they finished his house and paid off the land that he owns. But when he started, I think he owed he bought $100,000 piece of property, and it was like $99,000 or $98,000, and he had literally he owed like 60 or 70 grand on it. Like he's a legit, and when his first videos of him driving around, it's in a 90s Chevy pickup or a Suburban. It's like he's not rolling around in an Escalade, bro. Mm-hmm. And I bet you he might have a new truck, but I doubt that he has gotten rid of the old ones.
Yeah. Well,
dude is like ridiculous. I mean, it's the amount of based, absolutely correct things that he said is amazing.
Well, so people's mentality, and I understand it. I subscribe to it even a little bit myself. People's mentality is, okay, so why should I raise meat chickens? Because I can go and pick up whole chickens for like $5 when they're on, especially when they're on sale.
Yeah.
It just seems like a lot of work, blah, 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 for $5. So what and they're right. There's truth to that. Let's not dance around that shit. There's truth to that. You're spending your time, right? Your blood and sweat. I get it. But if nothing else, this is what I always preach. You should know how to do it. Nothing else. Know how to do it. As long as you're able to pay $5 for a chicken, that's great. Pay $5 for a chicken. I don't got a problem with that. But you should know how, because at any given time, something could happen, and then there you sit. And at least if you've grown a garden, and this doesn't just apply to the chicken thing. It's growing a garden. It's, how do you smoke meat? How do you, how you build a smokehouse, right? How do you build a root cellar? How do you can? Dry can, wet can, either way. What's the difference? How do you do all of this? Knowing how to do that, it is super easy, especially nowadays with YouTube. Like, it's super easy to learn how to do this stuff and play with it on a small scale, right? You can go get, I mean, chicks are super freaking cheap,
Yeah.
spring chickens, super cheap. It wouldn't take nothing to raise 2 chickens big enough to eat. It wouldn't take anything.
Yeah. So and it's not just chickens, right? I mean, my wife actually has a kind of a small hydroponic, self-contained thing in the corner of our sunroom that has the UV lights and everything. It takes up almost no space, and it's not a lot, right? But when she wants fresh tomatoes, she's not running to Walmart to get tomatoes or cherry tomatoes, whatever the hell they are. And it's got herbs and things that she would normally go buy. It takes no time. All she does is add water once in a while.
Yep.
That's it. Doesn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a friend of mine who got big into the aquaponics and hydroponics setup, and he actually had a system where, and I didn't mean to go down this path, but since we're kind of talking about it, he had this deal where he had tilapia fish that ate something. I forget how that was, but the tilapia fish ate something in the water. I think it was the algae in the water. The water, and the fish poop and algae provided the nutrients for the I guess they were tomato. I don't know whether they had tomato plants or corn or whatever the hell it was he was raising in there.
Yeah.
And so he grew a lot of vegetable stuff in the hydroponics. And then there was another aspect of it that provided the whatever else it needed. And all it needed was sunlight, and it just ran. All he did was, check on it once in a while, make sure that still had, the water hadn't evaporated or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
And it's now there are obstacles. I see Arthur Daya talk about how HOAs won't allow chickens and that kind of thing, and obviously I don't think that he's talking about doing this for large scale, and I honestly don't think that everybody should either. But being prepared is not a bad idea, and having the mentality to help other people really was what I was more interested in. I think it's interesting everybody keyed in on the self-sufficient aspect of it, but here's a guy that went out a year ago, right? He didn't even own the video cameras. His buddy, who's a local college DJ, records a video of him in the woods with a song. It goes mega viral. And then he's like, the next thing you know, he's playing massive shows. And there's one venue that he said that he had played the week before to like 20 people. And like 2 or 3 weeks later, it was sold out, parking lot only. He stayed until like dark signing autographs.
Yeah.
And that's apparently another thing he does. Like, he'll stay as long as possible so that every fan that possibly can get an autograph, if they want one, can get one. Yeah. I mean, the dude is just a genuine dude. He's just that normal.
Well, in order to, on the helping others type thing, you got to realize too, and a lot of people don't understand this, is you have to be in a position to be able to help. And in order to be in that position, you have to help yourself first.
Right.
Because it doesn't do you any good if you're in a bad position to try to, it's like trying to save somebody that's drowning when you can't swim. Like,
right.
You've doomed both of you at that point. So,
yeah.
And now he was blessed enough, right, that, put him in this position where he could do that.
Sure.
But he did the grinding and the work. I mean, had he not lived his life and put in the work he put in,
Well, he was a blue collar guy before.
that song wouldn't have happened, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, ultimately it led him down the pathway for those blessings, sure. But yeah, I mean, you have to take care of yourself, and there's no doubt, you know, as sincere as he is, and I don't know all the every little detail, but I'm sure he spent money on himself, getting himself right in a position to be able to do what he's talking about doing.
Man, I don't know. I mean, I don't. Maybe
there's no way he went out and bought farms and all this and didn't. Take
I mean,
yeah, he's in his own house and all of that stuff.
I think he paid. I think. I think the rumor is he paid off his house, and they finished the house that he was building. They were living prior to the video. He was no kidding living in an RV.
Yeah.
That the roof had rotted or whatever. That somebody had given it to him for like $1,000 or some crap like that.
Yeah.
And he had a tarp over the roof of the RV.
Mm-hmm.
And I think his wife and his kids, and I think he was building the house on the property. And I think he stayed there in the RV most of the time. And they stayed like somewhere else, or maybe they all lived there. And it was just that maybe he worked. I don't know. I forget what it was, but he had his job he was a salesman. He was a rep for a company that sold manufacturers products, and I forget which ones. I mean, I'm sure I could look it up, but he basically went around to. He was a blue collar guy. Then he became a salesman, a rep, and he would go around and he'd see all these blue collar guys working and just never getting ahead and all of this and that's and then he started writing music just, I guess, to kill the time, because I don't think he even had power on his property.
Right.
So that's why it was an acoustic guitar, from my understanding, because he didn't have power there to run an electric guitar. Yeah. So, you know, I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I was one of the ones that originally I thought the whole thing was kind of fake, right? Like every time I see something on YouTube that's like that,
mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, it's produced, it's fake, but it's just been too.
Yeah, no, he's genuine.
Yeah, it's been too real too long, and he's been like, he was literally like bombarded with offers from record companies, and he turned them all down. He's not working with a professional A&R person. Anson Knowles, thanks, man. Thanks. They don't think so. That's interesting. You know, he wrote, I mean, dude, it's just the weirdest thing, just the way this all kind of happened for him. And like, all he wanted to do was to finish his house and hunt deer on his property and raise his family. That's all he wanted to do. And now he can do more. And so he hasn't actually changed what he wants to do. He's still doing exactly what he wants to do. But now he's like, hey, I've got all this money. I'll help somebody else. Right. And I mean, imagine if more people were like that and gave to their churches and gave to their communities in the same way instead of not. And not like socialist having the shit taken from them, but I mean actual philanthropy, right? Like actually being a good person, being a good human, you know. It really struck a chord with me today when I was watching it, because I've been kind of annoyed with YouTube all week and all of the fucking drama and bullshit, and you know, and not with my channel. My channel's fine. You guys are great, but I've been watching other people, and they're like, dude, it's fucking ridiculous out there. Like,
hey, I know a good channel you can watch. It's a great channel.
I've been watching this guy named Clover Tack. He did this thing the other
That
day.
guy's a fucking douchebag. I don't watch that.
Fucking likes high points, dude.
God.
That's. I watched Grand Thumb a little bit today, and he was shooting a 6mm arc. He's just now getting around to. I'm like, seriously, like that. That was so. That was 2 years ago, bro. You're just now catching up.
It happens, dude. I did what?
Well, you know, it's because Geisley is now doing one, right? Like it's a military cartridge now. So
yeah, I did. What
he didn't care anything about it.
The Henry Homesteader a few weeks, a couple weeks ago. So I don't know, something like that. It's been out a while, but sometimes it just takes time, man, depending on your schedule and other things. It happens. You don't get things out like right when you want to a lot of times.
Yeah.
Now don't get me wrong. If they're paying big sums of money, you do. But outside of that, it's, the agreement is, hey, it's when I get to it. Sometimes it takes a while.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I just think that,
but my feed is all to your point about it. I get it. My YouTube feed is all fucking Kamala, whoever the old dude is, like Kamala, every fucking video. I'm like, oh my God.
Really?
I need to create a new account.
You know what my feed right now?
Yeah, I could go.
Well, obviously
right
it was
now.
that guy. I get a lot of Chinese or Asian like fashion shit because of my wife.
Yeah,
and that's
funny.
And she's looking at stuff up all the time. I get a lot of weird shit in my feed, man.
Yeah.
$5 from Mr. Boulay in the Department of Numismatics. Friends, don't let friends buy high points.
Yeah, well, if they want them not to have a good, reliable firearm, sure, why not?
Yeah, they're cheap, good, and reliable. You can't have all three as long as you want a high point.
You can absolutely have all three if you want a high point. I
As
will
long
argue that to the death, man.
That's what I'm saying. You can have all three as long as what you want is a high point.
Yeah, well, it's true. Yeah, if you want all three, you buy a high point. Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't say that. There's very few other companies that are that way, but yeah, I've got them 20 years old, man, and never had a lick of trouble. Now, are they ugly? Yeah. Yep. Are they heavy? Yep. There's a lot of drawbacks, but
so the I'm going to go shoot the USPSA match in Rocket City tomorrow morning. I tried to sign up, but I missed the deadline because I was busy all day. Like I don't know what time they shut it down on Friday, but I'm assuming it's probably 5 o'clock or 4:30 or something like that. And it was like 5:30 or 6 o'clock when I remembered that I needed to go on practice score and register. But they're not sold out or anything, so fuck it. I'll just drive down tomorrow. The kid and I are going to go. So we're taking a flock of weaponry because I think that Roland guy that was on the sci-fi guy was on the other night was I think he's going to try and be there. I need to message him, and I think Mr. Boulay is going to be there. So I will shoot with the numismatics guy. So I wonder if he's got a golden gun.
Wait, doesn't he have a little miniature golden gun?
Well, he sent me a silver one, so maybe
that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, there was a little tiny,
it's right back there,
precious metal gun. Yeah.
Yeah. What does anyone? Well, I'm assuming it's supposed to be everyone. Think about the OA 2311. It's actually a good gun. It needs a little bit of work for it to be like perfect to me, but it's out of the box, not bad.
It looks phenomenal, though. I just love the looks of it.
Yeah,
but I agree with you. It's not. I wouldn't put it in a super high tier, or anything.
Yeah.
Yet I think it can. I think it's got potential. It's got a lot of potential, and it's not bad.
I really want to love the Dan Wesson, but it needs everything out of the box. It needs a trigger job. Slide needs to be fitted a little better. I don't like the sights that come on it. I don't even like the grips. I mean, literally, it's like raw materials to build something cool. Mm-hmm. That's just my opinion, though. Other people love them. Yeah. I still think the same thing though about the Springfield Prodigy.
Yeah.
which I think it's a great start to building a great gun.
Yeah.
But it's not a good gun out of the box at all. Trigger sucks. All the surfaces suck. I don't like the way the safety feels. I don't like all of it. You can't make it, Boulay? Come on, man.
Yeah, but for every grid that says it sucks, there's 15 other people that love it. That's the beautiful thing about firearms.
Yeah. Well, it's not that it sucks. It's just it.
It's not
Yeah,
good
it's a
enough
good
for
start.
you, or it's not your thing, or yeah. I
It
know.
just
I
needs
get
to-
what you're saying. Yeah. I stay
Yeah.
I try to stay pretty neutral about all that. I don't have super harsh opinions about much in the gun world, as far as the gear, as far as the guns and gear and stuff. Anyway.
Yeah. So I'm taking the IWI Masada tomorrow.
That's a good one.
I'm taking my
For the
SIG
money,
X5.
especially, that's a good one.
Yeah. I'm taking my X5 Legion.
X5s are always sweet.
I'm taking
320,
my
326.
I'm sorry. Oh, 320.
Okay.
P320 X5.
Because they make a 226 X5 too.
Yeah, they do. I just don't own one.
The 226,
Only-
I think, is the one in From Paris with Love, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm.
That was a beautiful handgun, too, by the way.
I have a 226 German. So,
Oh, yeah. Those are always cool.
and then let's see what else have I got. I've got, or what else am I taking tomorrow? I'm taking the Canic TP9 SFX. I'm taking
Another good
because
one
I didn't
for
know
money.
who's going to be there. I loan guns out, so
Sure.
make sure everybody can shoot. I'm taking the Springfield 4.5 or 5.5 XDM.
Not a
I'm
huge
taking,
fan of those.
huh?
Not a huge fan of the XDM, but yeah,
I liked it. I like my XDM. I don't know. Mine's an early one though.
This is true. I've got literally the XD series had been out maybe a month when I bought my XD9, and it's one of the best handguns in a lot. As far as how well I shoot that handgun, I don't know what it is
Yeah.
about it. It's always been so
I
natural.
had the XD in 45 gap, and I loved it.
Oh, that's an interesting one. There's a
I got a
45
Glock
gap
45
at the. There's a 45 gap at the local gun shop right now that I've considered getting just because.
I love 45 gap. Oh, I should shoot that tomorrow. I've got one, and I should shoot it tomorrow. That'd be fucking hilarious. Run major. Anyway,
Right.
What else am I taking? I'm taking the XDM, the Masada, the Canic. I'm taking the M&P VTAC, the first generation VTAC
Not a fan of those either.
with the Apex trigger in it. Oh, it's a great gun. It is a freaking.
Yeah, I'm not knocking them. Smith and Wesson auto loaders outside of Empire. I just never have. They just don't strike my fancy. Maybe one day they'll come out with something that does, but
Yeah.
So it's
Everybody
not saying they're bad. I'm not going down that road.
It's a great gun. I love shooting that gun. I shoot it really well.
I take that back. I've got a Smith and Wesson M&P BB gun, pellet gun, air gun.
Yeah.
gun.
Yeah, I've got one that I
That
used
looks real. Like
Mhm.
that would get you killed if you pulled that sucker out and pulled it on somebody. Even the controls and the manipulation of it and all are real. Slide moves and everything. So
the great thing about the gifted memberships is when people get them, I see who's in the chat, even if they don't want to be seen.
Oh, it's true. Yeah, but they got to have their public stuff on to be able to get them anyway.
Yeah, they always do. Anyway, so those four are going. Those are my loaner guns in case like Boulay showed up and needed a gun, or Roland shows up. I know if Roland shows up, I know he'll need a gun because he doesn't, have one. I'm taking for my personal use the X5 Legion and the Bull SRS Saw. and the 2011 that I built personally. So,
so let me ask: all these handguns, do you take them in like a larger, all-in-one larger case, or individually cased?
so I have this bag that I got. I think I got it off a prize table somewhere. It's called the Terminator, and it'll hold like 8 handguns.
Oh, okay.
And it'll hold all the mag. It'll hold like 4 or 5 mags per handgun. And it's just basically a big bifold bag, right? And it's got compartments all on the inside for magazines and a couple of handguns and that kind of thing. And then on the outside, it's on both sides. It has 2 large pockets that hold 2 handguns each.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
yeah, that works.
Yeah, Boulay, you got to go, man. You got to go. I don't understand what the delay is. Just go ahead and send your email to work. And
well, I will be doing some filming tomorrow, and just spoiler alert, because nobody on my channel is going to know this. I will be pulling triggers tomorrow, filming shit with high points again. So
I figured.
I know Boulay's looking forward to that. But
yeah, Boulay's gonna.
I've got one more trick up my sleeve with high point. I got to try to get out.
Okay.
For before next week.
Well, put the 10-round magazines together to see if you can get a 20-rounder.
I know, right?
And then I think my kids
double stack will never happen.
Yeah, no, not a double stack, an extended 10-round.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying that they're not going to go like high point. Their margin and keeping the cost low and all of that. That's why their carbines is the exact same action. Basically, it's a chassis around a handgun.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why they're cheap. Is they've taken the design, they've improved that design as much as they can possibly improve it, without sinking a shit ton into R&D and new machining processes and stuff. And I think that's as far as they're ever going to go. I don't ever see them deviating into double stacks and a bunch of crazy stuff. They know where they sit in the market, and they're fine being there.
Yeah.
And now Arthur Dye knows how Cat feels. Just saying.
I have nothing I can add of intelligence.
I think my son's going to take the Rock Island that I normally use, the Rock Island high cap, which is basically the Para 18.
14.
No, it's 9mm.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, that'd be the TAC 5 or the 18. Yeah, 14 was 45.
Yep. Yeah, so it's I think he's going to take that tomorrow, and he will be and because that's what he's normally been shooting. I built him a perfectly nice Glock, but he doesn't shoot it, so he doesn't like it. He wants the 2011.
Yeah.
So, and I've got that. I've got a bunch of Colt. Well, I have a bunch of 1911 single stacks that I could go and shoot single stack tomorrow, but I don't like single stacks. Seems like, why would I ever do that?
It's fun to do every now and then, but I wouldn't. To me, single stacks more for like bullseye.
Yeah, I would love to go. Actually, I should shoot. They shoot a bullseye match locally. Man, I should go do that one night. I've got to start doing like little local matches all the time.
Or bowling pin matches. There's also good single stack.
Yeah, they do bowling pin matches there too. They do bullseye and bowling pin.
Single stack 45. Woo! Tear up some bowling pins, baby.
Yeah. So Bjorn, I actually have the new Frankfurt Arsenal X1 or X10 or whatever the fuck they call it. The baddest ass reloader fucking ever. That thing is awesome. Like I will say it. That thing is badass. So, but I only use it for 9mm right now. Rifle ammo is getting rifle ammo. I'm gonna have to set it up to do 223 because rifle ammo is getting to be like 70-80 cents a round now, even for 55 grain.
Yeah.
So that's too expensive.
All right.
So it's time to start reloading rifle ammo. So, yeah. But yeah, we're going to go have some fun doing USPSA. Boulay, the agreement is that you were going to come out. So I expect you to live up to your obligations. So. And then I'll come and do the show tomorrow night after I shoot as normal, because that's what I like to do. I like to shoot. So
they are throwing memberships like
I
the
see
open
that.
show
I
out
see
there,
that.
man. You get a membership. You get.
I did not start a membership drive. Angel Berber, I have nothing to do with this. I'm just sitting here chatting about stuff.
You know, if you're going to super chat multiple times and all of that kind of
Mhm.
stuff, you might as well throw memberships instead of doing that, honestly, especially if you ain't got much to say.
So I'm actually going to do a membership drive in a few weeks, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out what the what I can do for people to be members for like 6 or 12 months. So on the base level, right? Like as a reward, like if you hit 12 months or 6 months, what do you like? I need to give people something like
minus mod status. You got to go. I forgot what tier is automatic mod status, but on the low tier, anything below that, you got to have a year service to get mod status, but you will. And then, of course, I suck.
I was thinking
my lives are split between basically 2 seasons, right? And that's typically where you get memberships. Like it's so difficult in MySpace, it's that way anyway. It's so hard for MySpace for people to go over there and become members and get super chats and all of that. I don't know what it is about it, but over here it blows my mind. And there's other channels and other niches that are just, they make Andrew's live streams look like shit. They get so much stuff, but I'm not in that niche.
That was awesome. You posted in the Crucible to get. That's what did you super chat it so Andrew had to read it? that would piss him off. Don't do that. Don't do that. I don't need him mad at me. No, I'm thinking like patches or something physical. Like because if you make a year-long commitment, even at the lowest level is like $5 a month or something like that.
Yeah,
like,
and I think I told you I got the skinny on patches.
I know, and that's why when I brought it up while you were here is because I need to get that.
Yeah,
get that information.
Discord. I can send it again.
And then I got to figure out a way to send it out, anonymously, right? So people will figure out.
Just drop a community post that's members only and say, hey, if you've been, if you think you've been a year, let me know, or maybe list the people out as to who's been a year and say, hey, all of you need to email me.
You get badges already. So if you get to the 6-month badge and then the year badge, I want to have something physical that you get.
Yeah, so hit me up on Discord. Obviously, they have to give you an address and shit, but hit me up on Discord.
Well, what I'm thinking is I could probably do like an Etsy drop ship store, and I just pay for it, and they just claim it with
I can give them a code through my Shopify, through my merch store. I can just give a code, so go set up a code real quick.
Yeah,
and then they can go add whatever that is to the cart. And that's kind of cool the times I've done that, but that's another thing that's a huge fail. My merch store most months don't even pay for the fucking merch store. It's sad.
Oh, wow.
But when I do that, typically I'll do that, and it's crazy because I'll say, okay, you've gotten whatever. Here's the code, so just go to the merch store, add that to your cart, and shipping's free on my merch store. Everything is free anyway, in the U.S. anyway. So I'm like, go and just use this code, and
Tanya's just sitting up here like cat, except it's a black hole.
They will buy something along with that. I'll get the invoice thing for it, the notice, and it'll be like, so and so's, $23 or whatever. I'm like, what the fuck? Like you got free shit.
Yeah.
They bought shit anyway, and I'm like, okay, well, thanks for the support.
Yeah, I'm thinking hat patches for 6 months and like jacket patches for a year.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then that makes it work out pretty good because once you have, and then that encourages people to stay a member, and which is, you know, really, I'd almost rather have memberships. Team Fatty up in the house. What's up, dude?
Nice.
What's up, dude?
Yeah, you can do member only streams and different things.
Yeah.
We've done it several times. I come up with a game, and I usually do it on subscriber milestones or around those typically. And it's been dubbed Wheel of Infringement Jeopardy. So it's kind of a mix between Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. And then I've got tons and tons of gear and all kinds of prize stuff, not even related to guns. There's all kind of collectibles and all kind of weird stuff that you can potentially win. And I'm thinking about in 25. I was talking with a guy today about just some things and switching things up and maybe doing something. I'm thinking that I'll still do that game show night I'll do the game show night for milestones for everybody, but like maybe once a quarter or something, do game show night just for members only. But I got to work on some. I want to work on some sponsorship and funding for postage.
Yeah.
When
Give
we
me
do that,
so
when we do that, we
AB check. You may have to refresh your YouTube browser. I had the same thing going on today over when I was in Andrew's stream earlier. Is that it wouldn't show me any of the like I couldn't like any super chat or anything to do anything. So it was weird. So you may just have to refresh it. I don't know why YouTube's been weird today. So yeah. I think he's trying to give them Arthur Dia, but maybe not. I don't know. So I'm sorry, Clover Tech. But yeah, I mean, I like all of what you're saying. Except I don't like to do since I don't create like shoot 'em up content or anything like that. So almost everything I do is live. It's harder for me to do something like a special thing like that.
you can do a special live. Why can't you?
You could do a special live, and I could do. I'm just thinking ahead. You know that I think something physical for the
only
16-year membership.
Yeah. So back in the Patreon days, I really overdid it because I just feel so entitled. And most of the viewers that support you, they don't expect shit. Anyway, which is nice. But that doesn't mean that you don't feel obligated. You know what I mean? But what you got to keep in mind, and I was told this by members back in the Patreon day, I would have a monthly chat called my executive board meeting, where it was just me and the top tier supporters. And at some point, they told me, they're like, "Look, here's the thing. We realize that you're appreciative of the support, but when we support your channel, we're supporting your channel so you can continue to do content and other things. And when you take that money to buy patches and do all this other shit to give back to us, like that defeats the fucking purpose of us supporting the channel." So
Right. Yeah.
all I'm saying is be careful how you work that out and make sure that you it's still going to help support the channel, because ultimately that's what people out there are wanting to do.
Yeah. Yeah. That's my deal. That's my deal to do that. Is I just have to figure that part out. I'm still working on it. You know, it's going to be good stuff. I think Glenn's going to be on in a few minutes. He's actually working tonight. So you know that'll be good.
Somebody said something about Andrew. Is Andrew live?
Oh, I don't know if Andrew said he was live earlier. I don't know if
He was in stream earlier.
I think he was just he was talking about just dropping it in the Crucible like chat.
Oh, because
be careful with that because Mr. E will get pissed. But
shit, he like just got home, so like, damn, he got he got back on the horse quick.
Dude, he like it when he came in I watched the start of the video and he looked like he had just been like just rolled out of bed. And as a matter of fact, I think somebody was talking about his hair, and he's like, "Yeah, my hair looks like this. It's a really serious thing. I didn't." to work. So I thought that was really funny. So
Yeah, because he spent what, a week in Cali, something like that.
a little over a week, yeah. It seems like. I don't know. I don't have his schedule or anything, but yeah, it seemed like it was a long time. I think he was setting up a bunch of future stuff, guests and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm sure he's got a backlog after being out of town for that long of things to try to get set up.
I think it was people in California that he wanted to see, other creators. So
yeah, might as well. If you're out there, might as well extend the trip a little bit. And
yeah.
do
What
the
he
things you want
said
to do.
was he was working with other professional debaters as well as with
I'm
Brian.
going to still be here. I'm just coming down for a second.
So Andrew was saying that he was out in California working with other professional debaters as well as Brian Atlas with whatever to film content for his debate university.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what they were doing. He said they were putting in like full days with the recording and development of the course he'd been working on.
Yeah, he hung out with Glenn as well. For like, I think they went to dinner or something. I'm not really sure. Not my story to tell. Glenn should be on shortly, though. Maybe. We'll see. So, yep. So, Clover, how goes the battle?
For what? Sanity?
Battle?
The
I don't
battle.
know. Actually, I usually say how goes the war, but that's been freaking people out lately. So
It's all good. It's all good.
yeah.
Gonna be interesting. Trying to think. The last show was GunCon. The one before that was NRA. So got to talk with quite a few people. Obviously, being the NRA show, a lot of activist types. Not a whole lot at GunCon. Because it was more industry driven. But the GOA's thing next weekend is going to be off the fucking chain, I think. And it being GOA, there'll be quite a bit of 2A activists, my 2A activist friends there. So be able to get some good info from the horses' mouths instead of these talking head fucking 2A YouTubers that just gin up drama and don't tell the truth most of the time.
Yeah. Cool. I'm going to actually be over in Knoxville Saturday. Saturday.
You should.
Oh yeah, I'm going to come by, man. I'm going to bug you.
Saturday, Sunday, something.
We'll have to go meet. I'll have to go meet some of your contacts. Do some networking. You
got my number, don't you?
No.
Are you sure?
I don't ask for people. It's weird because a lot of people seem to ask like, "Oh, hey, can I get all your information and everything?" And I never ask. I just assume that the relationship stays on a specific level, like until somebody moves the needle.
Yeah. So. Well, move the fucking needle, bitch. What the hell? Are you sure? I thought we exchanged numbers. Could have swore we
I was just checking to see if somebody else walked in. See who you're talking to about that. But anyway, I just assumed there's somebody behind me. So I guess we have to talk about, since neither of you guys watched it, I have to talk about Destiny rage quitting with Rob Noor. Was it yesterday or day before yesterday? I believe it was day before yesterday. Not a good look for Destiny. He literally got his pee-pee whacked because the whole time he was debating Andrew, if you watched the thing with Andrew, the whole time that he was debating Andrew, he was talking like he had actually read all of these. As a matter of fact, he says, I read all these documents. I know more about Gen 6 than anybody else, all this other nonsense. But, he never did actually read the court finding that he kept citing during his debate with Andrew, that Andrew refused to accept as the definition for insurrection, right? Because Andrew just kept saying, well, that's not a federal court. You keep saying federal, so we can't go by that. That's a state court, and whatever. But if you watch the debate, it's 5 hours of Rob Noor giving Destiny his way. So Destiny would not debate straight up because he didn't want another thing like Andrew did, I guess. I don't know. So he basically, and Rob outlines this. He said, Destiny wanted it to, or the only way Destiny would debate was Rob said, hey, for 5 hours, I'll give you your way, and you will be, I'll listen to your points, and you can talk. We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. But then when you're done, I get to say what I want to say, and you have to respond to it. And it's a quid pro quo, basically. Well, it's literally like 4.5 to 5 hours of Destiny doing everything he can to basically prove that Jan 6 was an insurrection, and Rob making very solid points that it's not. But Destiny does this thing where he'll say, like, you can't talk about that. Where's your documentation for that? We didn't talk about that before. That's not included in this debate. All this kind of thing. Yeah, he got bodied, Shelby. He did get bodied in the debate with Andrew, but this was worse because he rage quit. So Rob literally read out loud in the middle of the debate. He actually read what the court finding was, and the court never made a finding. It couldn't make a finding. It just said that it felt like that Jan 6 was an insurrection, even though it couldn't define an insurrection, and it didn't meet any of the definitions of the insurrections that exist. But they agreed that it probably rose to the level of insurrection. That's it. That was our own finding, only finding. And this was a state court that had nothing to do with anything. And Destiny lost his shit and rage quit. Because there's no coming back from that.
There is
when the other guy says you didn't even
insurrection, though, right? I mean, there is a legal definition that the court.
Yeah, but Jan 6 doesn't rise to it.
I don't think it does either, but there is a legal definition that exists.
Yeah, but Destiny's trying to modify a definition to fit it so that he can call it. He's doing everything in the world to change the meaning of the word insurrection, and it's not working. And everybody just keeps he's going to just keep getting bodied on this. I mean, it's just now everybody knows exactly the tactics to use. So there's no way out. So it's very interesting, my opinion. Okay, somebody just sent me oh, never mind. So yeah. Anyway, but we got to talk about it because it was pretty terrible. I don't know how many people watched it, but if you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's on Rob Noor's channel now. You can't see Destiny. You can only see Rob. If you want to see, I think both of them, you have to go to Destiny's channel and give him the traffic, which I did not do. But you can literally see him rage quit on Destiny's channel. It took a minute for Rob to realize he was gone. He's like, "Are you there? Are you there?" He was not there. So Destiny hasn't taken a W in a while, guys. I mean, he needs to start debating, some.
Well, I hear he takes a lot of D's though, so maybe it makes up for it.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing. What's
been interesting for me to watch is kind of like observing human behavior when you watch people debate with Andrew on the whatever podcast or with Destiny doing a debate, is that some people have very good levels of emotional control. Even some of the most feminist little girls on that whatever podcast, some of them are able to maintain their composure and answer. Even if they're not winning the argument, they maintain emotional control and conduct themselves in a professional manner. Other people cannot do that. And Destiny sounds like one of them. Their emotions get the best of them. They cannot handle debate or pushback. They get very upset to the point where they have to leave.
So here's the thing. I get what you're trying to say, but the problem with it is that using tone is part of how you deal with an argument, right? When you are giving when you're and acting like you've lost your temper, or giving the impression that you're reacting in a specific way, is as much a debate tactic as anything else. And so I honestly think that most of the time Destiny's not that angry, but he needs you to think that he is off kilter so he can come in and well, my observation is
like
that
a ropey
Destiny
dope.
will, yeah, like it's a rope-a-dope. So he acts like he's off kilter and he's lost his place and he's just like he's on the edge of spurging out. And then you move in for the kill and you start pressing him, and then he comes back in on the backside and smacks you around, right? And because then he instantly becomes calm. And I'm a fan of that technique myself. Actually, I like to do that. I like to act like I'm very, very wound up. I get loud. I use specific language, but I'm not actually mad. I'm not angry at all.
Well, I think there's a difference between being passionate and using a little bit louder voice or something, which is something like Andrew does. You do that, versus just totally losing control and becoming, where your mind is so upset with anger or rage or irritation that you're not winning, that you can't even stay in the debate.
All the world is a stage. So that, like the other night I was on a panel, and there was someone that was talking over me, and so I didn't actually really care, because normally you'll see what I normally do when people are talking over me is I'll just sit there and smile and let them just rattle on. But sometimes, depending on how they're doing it and the way what the situation calls for, I will tell them to shut the fuck up. And we did this the other day on Glenn's panel too. There was a guy who every time I'd start talking, he'd start talking over me, like every single fucking time. And after like the third or fourth time, I was like, dude, just shut the fuck up. You literally talk over me every time I start talking. I'm not angry with him at all. I don't shit one way or the other. He can talk all he wants, but but at the end of the day, he can that's, I don't really care. I don't really care if I would prefer them to think that I'm upset in a discussion, because it makes them think that they have me on something or whatever. And I don't think Andrew ever really gets upset. I think he's detached, and he's at that 1,000-foot. He's looking down from 1,000 feet on the argument to see all sides. I think that's how he like distances himself or something.
Yeah,
I don't know that. We've never actually talked about a debate at all. It's just my observation from watching him.
Yeah,
because he can go from like perfectly calm to seeming to be very upset or not upset, but very forceful, to being right back to being absolutely calm again. Just switches. It's a tactic. Again, all the world's a stage, man. All the world's a stage. But I did think that Rob did exceptionally well with Destiny. The debate was really perfect. And Destiny like spurred out. Like he was literally yelling at poor Rob.
Rob is a really good debater. I had not heard of him until he did the debate with Andrew as a mock debate in preparation.
Oh yeah, the mock debate was amazing.
Debate with I think it was with who was he debating with? Was it with Dave Smith? I think it was the prep.
Yeah, it was the prep.
It was the prep prior to the debate with Dave Smith that he was mock debating with Rob Norn. Rob is excellent. I had never heard of him before. I got to see him on the Crucible.
Yeah. Yep. Pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. Anyway, I really like the Rob Noor debate. But it was like it's seriously, it's like 5 hours of Destiny just prattling on and on and on and on and asking all kinds of weird questions. Not all weird, but he just, it's just a very strange. I mean, it was a very interesting thing to do. Seriously, Shelby and Jess, I have to thank you for the sheer number of members. I have lost count of how many memberships have been gifted tonight. You guys are absolutely amazing, stunning with the sheer number of memberships that have been gifted out. And I think people are just like doing drive-bys to get memberships, just like pop in, get a membership, pop out, which is hey, maybe they'll come back and use that bad boy. So that would be great. But you guys I mean, it's been crazy. It's been nonstop.
We need some sound effects to like herald their legend donations of super.
Yeah, I think I can do that. I mean, all I've got right now is you guys can see the new member bar, and you can probably hear the computer tone. I think you should be able to hear the computer tone.
You can hear the tone, but like a air horn or something, just to thank Jess and
like
LB for their donations.
Yeah, we could. I'll have to look into that. So, yeah, it's an amazing number of an amazing number of memberships. So I've got to say I really appreciate it, guys. It's amazing. It's amazing. So I'm actually really humbled by you guys doing that. So it's really awesome. So really cool stuff. I'm gonna bug Glenn Lawrence. Clover Tack, do you want to chat for a minute? Do you want to like roll off some maybe? I know you didn't see the Destiny debate, which is a shame, but what
roll off what? What do you mean? What are we doing?
Just talk about something.
I got something I can talk about. I got something I can give away if there's anybody out there that's actually interested in this. I can talk about it.
Yeah, give away something.
So, for those that aren't aware, what Grid and I were talking about in Knoxville next weekend, the 17th and the 18th, is the first year for the Gun Owners of America GOA's event. Going to be an industry event, and so there'll be tons of boom, boom, stick, pew, pew, gun manufacturers, all kinds of accessories, other things there. It's not a gun show. It is an industry show. However, it is open to the public in a way. Talk about that in just a second. But there will be comedy shows, concerts. There will be panels. There'll be breakout sessions on various topics, included 2A. I'm actually in one of the classrooms for an hour. I believe it's Saturday. I'll have to look at the schedule. But doing getting youth into the Utes into shooting sports. So there's going to be tons to do, tons to see. If that's something that somebody out there, maybe they're close to Knoxville or they don't mind, traveling in a week or, whatever, because it is next weekend. I've actually got, in order to be able to get into the event, get a ticket to the event, you have to be a member of the Gun Owners of America, of the GOA. And I've actually been given some year memberships. Now, if you're already a member, this year membership will stack onto your current membership. So if you're paid up to the end of the year, whatever, you'll still get your free year. And then that will get you also the entry into the event. The caveat is you 100% absolutely without fail need to know that you're committed to going. And so if that's the case, if somebody out there listening, yeah, hit me up on, I guess maybe my Discord, probably Boulay or somebody out there can link that or something. I don't know. But probably since y'all use Discord over here, hit me up probably on my Discord over there, and we'll see what we can do. Kind of depends on how many responses I get and stuff like that, but they can get you that year membership and that entry into that event. I think you'll have a good time. Did I kill enough time for you?
Yeah, it was fine. I just needed to pick on Glenn a little bit. That's all.
Oh.
So 5 more memberships. Wow.
It's
Crazy.
Never ending. It's like the never ending gobstopper, but it's never ending memberships tonight. Pretty awesome.
We've had memberships rolling out literally the entire stream tonight. It's been pretty impressive.
I know. It's like it is not stopped. With the that alien sound that I have plugged into that, I'm gonna have to change that to something else. Yeah, interesting stuff. It's been actually really enjoyable. Seriously, Shelby and Jess, I'm awed and humbled by the sheer number of memberships that have been given out tonight. So awesome, very much awesome. So yeah, I was hoping Glenn would be able to pop in. I think he's still busy. He's got work to do. He's a busy man. So what do you want to? How do you want to give away the GOA memberships?
Well, somebody will just have to hit me up.
Okay.
Because I can't just give it away. It's got to be
go to
absolutely committed to going. So if I give it away and they don't show up, that's going to reflect really, really badly on me with the GOA, and I'm not willing to take that risk. So,
do you want to have a bunch of people just go into your Discord, or do you want them to go to my Discord since you're on my Discord and do it there?
They could probably tag me in yours, but it would probably be easier if it was in mine. Or they could email me, or they could DM me on, I don't know. Everybody's on different platforms and do different things.
Yeah.
Not everybody. I'll tell you what, I'll just throw so everybody listening, anybody that's interested, hopefully they're listening. If you don't want to get into the, Boulay, you can drop whatever out there as long as the grid's okay with it. I don't care, but
yeah, drop the invite. That's fine.
My email's really easy. My general email is clovertac@gmail.com. So you can hit me up that way. So surely everybody's got some form of email. So that's probably the best, most general. But I've already put it out on Discord about it earlier.
Okay.
And I have more than one, but it's a very, very specific thing is the problem. We're talking about a week away. If somebody's not pretty close within driving distance of Knoxville, then, they're going to have to try to get a hotel or do this or do that to be able to go. And get off work potentially. You know what I mean? And so I don't know how many people would partake, but I was just given these, I don't know, less than a week ago.
Yeah.
But it's shaping up to be pretty damn awesome. I mean, there might be some surprises in store. They're saying that not at the convention center in Knoxville, but in an adjacent facility. Trump may end up showing up. JD Vance may end up showing up. If you're a wrestling fan, spelled with an A.
Now I'm convinced to go.
Wrestling. If you're a wrestling fan, Kane from WWE, WWF, whatever, is the mayor of Knoxville, and he will be there. So it's your chance to meet a wrestler Hall of Fame member there, potentially. Be a lot of creators in the gun space will be there. I don't know how many.
Yeah, that's why I need to go over there and network a little bit, get some guests and that kind of thing coming on.
Yeah, but if you check all that out, that's there. Glenn Jacobs. I had to go look. Like I know, I just call him Kane. I don't know, but Glenn Jacobs is his name. So, but yeah. If you go to the media page, it'll give you some of the media, some of the more important media members.
Yeah.
Gun tubers, whatever you want to call them. But it should be a good time.
I need to go. I'll be there Saturday, pretty much all day, I think.
Well, are you already a GOA member?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So do you need to throw your
I'll be
hat
there. I mean, I'm going to go shoot the match Saturday. We're usually done by like 2:30. Yeah, and then I was going to swing around and see what's up.
Yeah, it's 9 to 7 on Saturday and 9 to 4 on Sunday. So,
you should come shoot the 3-gun match.
Oh, I've got 4 days.
Too many commitments.
Yeah, this is like work. Yeah, unfortunately.
I know. That's
everybody
like
else just to go and hang out. Like for me, this is work. I've got range day on Thursday. I've got media only day on the floor on Friday, and then 2 days of the show Saturday and Sunday. So, and like I said, I've got panels and breakout sessions and other things that I'm a part of as well. So,
yeah.
Okay. Unfortunately, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna sit here and fucking lie to you and tell you this shit ain't fucking off the chain awesome, but it's also work.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, I should. I'll have to look and see where you guys are going to be downtown.
Yeah, so it's at the convention center. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Now we've got an Airbnb west of town a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Airbnb, decent looking little duplex. Anything close as far as the hotels and stuff were just too damn expensive.
Yeah.
So.
Neat. Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll give people, if there's anybody over here in this space, people from my neck of the woods and the gun tuber space are used to it. Like they're used to the shows and the different things. So could be a really interesting thing for some of the folks over here if they could swing it, make it happen. I think they would enjoy themselves. Yeah. But anyway, yeah.
I will need more space. Been clearing out for weeks. Okay. Oh, okay. I will. I have been saying that for a while. Yeah. I like Gun Owners of America. They seem much more consistent with modern ideals than the NRA. Mm-hmm. Of course, I also believe the NRA has sold gun owners down the river at every opportunity.
Historically, yeah, it's been the case.
Yeah. I can't make I honestly can't make an argument for the NRA at all.
I think the NRA is on a comeback. I can say that, and again, there's a lot of 2A channels out there and other things that are just going to blow smoke up your ass and tell you what you want to hear to perpetuate drama because they know if they scream the NRA fucking sucks, they're worthless, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's what everybody already fucking believes anyway, and so they're going to get more views and whatever. Truth of the matter is there's been some really positive changes as of late, and over the last, it's been less than a year, I guess, at this point, but there's been some positive changes, and the NRA didn't become a shithole overnight either. So
No,
it's going to take.
Well,
a
I mean,
while
it really came down to LaPierre, and then of course, they had the opportunity to vote in someone who I thought was really, really good for would have been really, really good for the NRA, and they did not. So that's troublesome as well.
Well, the consensus seems to be ends to a means to an end. And so, I don't know how long the one that's in there now. By all indications, it appears that he's going to be short-lived, but they couldn't make such a drastic change. They didn't have the votes, and they wasn't able to do that immediately.
Right.
But they had to get LaPierre had such a stranglehold on the fucking organization that they had to get rid of LaPierre. They had to. Like, that had to be step number one.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it will be easier. It will be easier to get rid of anybody else. It will be much easier than it was to get rid of LaPierre. So
that's true.
So,
John Smith, FPS. I did watch a few of FPS Russia's videos. I always thought they were cool but weird and not relevant to anything I did. But what happened with him is his partner, who owned the gun store that actually provided 90% of the firearms used, was murdered in very suspicious circumstances. And they actually suspected FPS Russia for a while, like several months. He was under investigation. After that, he kind of disappeared for a while, and then he turned back up a few years ago doing he was streaming video games and doing some other stuff. But yeah, it was a bad time with FPS Russia. Yeah, that guy's actually from Georgia. Not the Russian Georgia either, the Georgia. And he just that was a completely made up voice that he used. So,
a lot of the really old channels talking about when YouTube first started, 2004, 2005, to 2010-ish era, Hickok come around and 11, 12, 13, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
But before that, very few of those channels are even still around. Quite honestly, even, to see a gun channel around longer than about 10 years is pretty rare.
I'm actually surprised that Hickok 45 has been around as long as he has.
Yeah. Yeah, especially no more than that old fucker knows. He, like tech-wise and stuff is what I mean by that.
Right. No, I get it. There's a lot of things that he said that I'm like,
that whole last video. To his credit, he put out a second video, which was great, to his credit. But that first one he put out a couple weeks ago about how YouTube was just picking on him or whatever, and the gun channels were ending, and YouTube was getting rid of all of them. Bullshit. That whole video was bullshit. He didn't have.
See, you should have been around when, back in 2010 or 11, when, or maybe 9 and 10, when they had whatever, they had some event. I don't know whether it was, I think it was Sandy Hook actually. And YouTube decided that they couldn't have gun stuff on YouTube anymore. And all the advertisers were pulling out. Well, at that time, the top videos on YouTube were all like Hickok 45, Demolition Ranch, and there was an FPS Russia and a couple other guys. They were all gun tubers. Like, literally, they were the top 5.
Yeah, nothing fancy at Abbey 8888.
Yeah, nothing fancy. Yeah.
There wasn't a ton, but Nothing Fancy is pretty old. He's still doing a little bit. He's pretty old. He's an OG.
Yeah.
I call the OGs any of them like pre 2010, especially. And you
Yeah.
don't got many. The only two that come to mind that are even still around, Nothing Fancy, he's barely still around, and then Gun Websites. Gun Websites is 100% still around. Like,
Yeah. So
very active.
when all that went down, and basically, I think they blamed a lot of it on like Coca-Cola and all of that. That's when Hickok 45 thought that it was over. Like, I kid you not. Like, I think he basically told everybody that he was done, end of the channel. And then somebody said that everybody was going to move to, I don't know if you remember this, but everybody was going to move to Pornhub instead of YouTube because the there were no real restrictions there.
Yeah, it's fun.
I think Hickok was like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And so he was like, yeah, it's going to be the end of the channel. And then, of course, nothing. All that really happened was just the monetization changed, and the gun and a lot of the gun timbers just went away. So, anyway, the old days, the good old days.
Uh-huh.
Clover Tack, I'm assuming it says know anything about Larry Vickers and what happened to him? I do. Do you want to know?
I don't know anything fairly recent. So,
well, about he became a felon.
Yeah, I mean, I know he pleaded guilty to all the charges, but
yeah,
like as far as in the last month or two, that's been what 6 months ago or more. So yeah.
Yep. That was just a bad deal for him.
Well, he was doing shit that a lot of folks like that do, where they'll build samples basically and keep them for them. They'll get a contract from some friend that is high up with purchasing and law enforcement. They'll build some samples and then they'll fucking keep them. You know what I mean? And you're not supposed to do that. So
yeah.
But it's one of the things where a lot of people do it. It's just very few get caught, and he happens to be a high profile that got caught. There are people that get caught doing that don't have the status of Larry Vickers, and you never hear about it. So.
Do you remember back when the HK Parts thing went down?
No. I mean, I'm going to say no because I don't quite know what you're talking about.
Well, HK Parts was actually two businesses. One was HK Parts, and the other was actually, I think it was like a training group or something. I forget what it was, the HK Parts, in theory, sold just parts for all kinds of HKs, but apparently they were also assembling full autos and selling them like somehow. Like, I'm not even sure whether they were selling them as under like an SOT to another SOT to start out with, and then I don't know, but it was and the guy got caught. The guy behind it got caught, and then he took the fall for the group, and then HK Parts was still around, but it wasn't the same, and then everything kind of fell apart. And I don't even know if HK Parts still exists.
Yeah, I wouldn't know either.
But
Glenn's in the house.
I only know anything about it because I had at the time I had an HK 91 and a 93, and I actually had bought the technically full auto trigger pack from HK Parts that was pinned.
Yes, Shelby. Lara Croft Tomb Raider is HK's. Yes. Or John Smith. I'm sorry, not Shelby. John Smith. I actually got was it 2 years ago? I was at an event and those actual guns were at the event. I got to shoot them. So
nice.
Suck it.
Were they cool?
And I got to dual wield them too and shoot them, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, for the film, they were decommissioned, but they had been repaired, firing pins and all that put back in them to be able to fire them. But yeah, movie prop or the movie.
We're gonna get it. If we get into film guns, we got to talk about Terran.
But do we really?
And we don't have to.
Yeah.
He came up today
Oh,
in conversation.
Good or bad in a bad way?
Yeah, you know, it's I mean, mostly about the tuning stuff that he does with guns and and some of the training that he does. So
yeah, is Glenn even here?
He's he may be.
I'm just being polite, letting y'all talk.
So real quick, Glenn. So I got my tactical soap, right?
Mm-hmm. Did you wash your balls?
I did.
No.
And my pits and my ass and other things too.
All those orifices, good.
Dude, oh man, I got the Maverick 1, 2, and 3.
Oh yeah,
Maverick all good. 3. My wife loves the smell of all 3, and I do too. The smell.
You're now marinating in pheromones.
So I'm gonna say this. I took it out of the package, and I was a little skeptical. And I'll tell you why I was skeptical. It's because my sister-in-law and them have a dairy, and so I'm used to homemade soaps and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the homemade soaps, while they smell good and they're better for you and shit, they don't lather worth a fuck.
Nope.
The tactical soap lathers great. It lathers better than like Irish Spring and Dove and the normal shit. It's amazing.
It's really good quality stuff.
Yeah.
Like people think it's like silly. I'm like, yo, you can laugh at me all you want saying
no,
like
good shit.
that I promote soap products. I'm like, okay,
good stuff.
It's works.
I honestly
really
thought it was a spoof commercial when I first saw it, and then I Googled it and realized, no, it's actually a company.
No, yeah, most of my commercials, yes, are spoofy. Like, I get that, but no, for real.
Fair. He'll allow that.
Yeah, it's warranted. I totally understand that.
And they're very well done spoofs. I love them. They're very.
That's the whole point of them. They're supposed to be done well enough to where you're like, wait a minute, is this one for real or is he trolling me? You know?
We have this guy, Natural Immunity, in here. I think I don't know how he got here, but he seems a little lost. He's like, what are we talking about? Wash your what? I mean, I think balls. We might be scaring this gentleman.
Don't you not wash your balls? Natural Immunity?
Yeah.
I mean, I see him on my channel.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I see him on my channel.
All right, cool.
You have to wash your balls, Natural Immunity. Like, it's a good thing. Hygiene is good.
The scrotum. You must wash your scrotum.
Yeah, all that good jazz.
Oh, we've got something going on in the chat tonight. It's very funny.
Who knows? They do. Sometimes they get in their own little world out there.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna go shoot that USPSA match. I've been asked to at least engage in talks to take over a match at another range and put be a 3-gun match director again, and which would be cool. But I'm going to. I actually really want to do it because I have a lot of really good stages, like that I really want to put on the ground that I haven't been able to put on the ground for the last couple of years, and most of them involve the flashbang simulators from Tactical Shit, and because explosions are cool. So
yeah, usually. Well, you're not
I think we scared the people from California and Florida.
I was going to ask you. You said you have some concerns about the NRA. What are your concerns with the way? Is it just Wayne?
I have some. I know exactly what the fuck they are. The NRA sold their membership down the river several times. So when everybody blames Trump,
you're generous, man.
Literally every time.
NRA has been a sellout from the beginning. What are you talking about?
Every time that they've had the opportunity since 1932.
Well, you got to be fair. That's part of that fake fucking news, like 2A rah rah. fucking drama, lie to people channels. Okay. So until 77, there was no Institute for Legislative Action. There was no political arm of the NRA. It was strictly training. They did obviously the classes in school and competition and that side of things. So it's more of a societal
Eddie
effect.
the Eagle, baby. Eddie the Eagle.
Yeah. So, but you're not wrong. It's just you need to draw that distinction because it wasn't the NRA as an organization. Now all the fuckery.
Well, I actually like what their defense team does.
All of the fuckery that has went around since the ILA was instituted. Yes, 100%. That is the NRA's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they helped write the Gun Control Act in 1932 as well.
I get you, but back in 32, it wasn't the organization; it was people within the organization. It wasn't.
That's
the
true.
organization
I'll go with that.
So,
it was still the leadership of the organization.
You can't throw the baby out with the bathwater with that.
Okay, I'll redefine. The leadership of the NRA has sold out its members so many times we can't even count.
Yeah, that's more accurate. Yeah, I would.
And they do it they will literally actively draft the legislation that removes gun owners' rights. The bump stock deal that Trump signed,
with
that was written
in court, which they never do. That's the caveat.
It was written and endorsed by the NRA. Matter of fact, the NRA told Trump that all he needed to do was just go along with this thing, and it would be fine. Like it was the right thing to do. There was that would smooth everything over, bridge the gap, cross the aisle, all of that stupid shit.
Yeah,
and it didn't do any of that. Matter of fact, it made gun owners hate him.
Yeah.
Which the same thing they did to Reagan. They did the exact same thing to Reagan.
Well, in 32, they did do some good, even though they compromised. And this isn't talked about enough. I mean, initially, on the NFA, the government wanted, or legislature, or the anti-gun components, whatever you want to call them, they wanted handguns on the radio.
Yeah.
Where you would literally have to go pay a tax stamp, blah, blah, blah. Now they just get a handgun. And so the NRA wasn't able to negotiate that or compromise or what even the leadership of the NRA.
That believes which version
able to get the handguns off. But they did it by putting arbitrary, stupid things on
that believes which version of history. If you've watched T-Rex's video,
I don't have to do a version of history by somebody that did some kind of fucking video, some kind of thing, because you can go actually read all the committee hearing shit and everything on
right. But that's what I'm saying. When T-Rex broke it down, all of it, and it really seems like that. It was not going to pass with handguns in it, but they wanted more, right? Like originally, all it was going to do was basically make full auto anything. Well, actually, originally, I guess it was just full auto rifles, right?
No, they had a concealability. They had a concealability stick up their ass, big time. And if you read the committee hearing stuffs, that you'll notice that. You'll pick up on that really, really fucking quick.
Yeah. Well, at any rate, they knew that the pistols were not going to pass. If they left handguns in, handguns were not going to go through. And so instead, that's when they stuck short barrel rifles in for no stupid ass reason, and short barrel shotguns in for no stupid ass reason, and then at the very last minute, they threw suppressors in.
Yeah.
Like suppressors weren't even part of the conversation until after it was actually written and they came back and added it.
And to this day, they're still not considered firearms by any piece of legislation, even though you have to fill out 4473s.
Yeah, I know. So but
yeah, to say,
I wish they had left handguns in it. I wish that they had left handguns in it, so that it would have failed completely.
So here's the rub, and here's where people need to do their own homework. They need, and like I said, that was in 32, and you can the transcripts from the committee hearings are out there.
Sure.
Which is hard to believe from transcripts from 100 years ago, but they are. The rub comes into play when you hear, oh, it wouldn't have passed anyway. Well, how do you fucking know? Like, you don't know that. I mean, if somebody got a crystal ball, do they, like, strange things happen all the time with politics and legislation and all kinds of other things. So you don't know that for sure. That's speculation. And so you have to throw that out. I'm sorry, but you have to throw that out. All you can go is by the facts that are presented. And whether or not that would have passed, I don't know. I mean, there are some people that said it would.
I mean, the notes seem to be pretty clear that the notes seem pretty clear that they didn't have the votes to get any of it passed with handguns left in. Nobody wanted handguns in it except for a few select people.
Yeah, but one side will tell one story and one side.
But you are right. The reason they wanted that. No, I'm going by what when they said we have we think we the notations that say, hey, we think we got 20 guys that are going to say yes, and now we got 30 guys that are going to say no because there's
but not everybody telegraphs their moves, correct? And there's all kind of last minute deals and people that change their vote,
like suppressors. Suppressors were a last minute deal.
Things happen
clearly
all the time.
Documented. So yeah, it's clearly documented.
Like, what if they hadn't brokered the deal, and now we've got to pay a $200 tax stamp to go buy a stupid, high point handgun, right? Like, you gotta pay more.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing, though, is that that's not the way it was. That's not the way it's written. That it was going to go down. The way it's written, the way what the history shows, all the notes, and all the votes and everything says it was going to go down, is that they could get the full auto stuff. That was a no brainer. Nobody cared about it. Even though Thompson and some other companies were like,
that I agree with. Yeah.
Yeah. Thompson and some other companies are like, hey, fuck that. We want it.
That was considered unusual. Yeah.
Yeah. It was. Yeah. But it was one of those things.
So were SBRs and SBSs at the time, and suppressors were all considered.
So the SBR SBS thing was just was only thrown in after they couldn't get pistols. They were like, well, we got to get something else other than just the full auto machine guns, right? So it was like, well, what do we do? Well, the sawed-off shotguns. Okay,
yeah, that's not the way I read it. That's not the way.
The way I read it is that there was a lot of public concern about concealable weapons, and they convinced people that sawed-off shotguns and short barrel rifles were concealable, which they really
but they
are.
that also tied back into machine guns.
Yeah.
In the sense that it was unusual. And that's the thing that's even brought up today with the legislative process and the court system, right? Mm-hmm. Is this whole idea of common use. Right?
But there wasn't, but I mean, I don't think that they were the rifles weren't put in there because they were unusual, is because they were concealable in theory in the detective novels and the raincoats and
both.
shit.
They met both criteria.
And so
they met the criteria, the concealability of the handgun, but then they also met the criteria of the push of unusual arms, which was the machine gun.
Yeah, it was so arbitrary, though. It's 16-inch was the barrel.
No, I agree. That's a totally different argument you're making there, and I agree with that.
No, I'm saying that but it just clearly shows that they knew they weren't going to get handguns. That's why they dropped handguns out of the language, and they put short barrel rifles and short barrel shotguns in. Short barrel rifles and short barrel shotguns weren't in until handguns were eliminated.
Clearly shows that they thought they didn't have the votes. It doesn't clearly show they didn't have the votes. It clearly shows they thought they didn't have the votes. I'll go that far with you, but that's as far as I'm taking it. Because nobody had a crystal ball, man. We're running on hindsight.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just the actions. There was no they didn't even care about short barrel shotguns and short barrel rifles until they couldn't get handguns. Right. Once handguns were pulled, that's when the short barrel shotgun and short barrel rifles come into play.
So from the committee hearings that I've read, the short barrel rifles and shotguns were discussed pretty much alongside the machine guns.
That's not the way I read it. The way I read it, it was that stuff only came in later after handguns were eliminated.
Well, maybe we find that. I don't know. That's such a tough read because you got to realize
it is tough to read. I would grant
language
you
back then. It's like trying to read goddamn Shakespeare, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, it's bad. The esteemed
and you have like and also
like what the hell are they talking about?
Also, when you're reading the notations, you're reading what people think. Right? Like you're reading that literally like, well, we don't have the votes. We don't have this. We don't have that. So,
right.
But if we offer this, there was a lot of things that they were considering offering, right? Like allowing the Thompson submachine guns, but restricting like the Lewis guns and, and basically making a named list, right? Of right. You can own these, you can't own these, because there were people that legitimately wanted to own Thompsons, but there's a lot of discussion. I mean, the discussion back and forth is really interesting, but at any rate, that's how that shit happened, and suppressors were just thrown in like at the end of the meeting. Like it was like literally like, oh yeah, let's just throw suppressors in there, and it supposedly. I can't find a notation where it was even voted on. It was just written in.
Where
just like
what, the suppressors?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was added in yeah, there's records of that.
Yeah, it was just added in. It wasn't like
but it was amended. There was an amendment for
that. Cam the King asked, how come every time I put a short on YouTube of a can, it gets removed? I thought if it wasn't live, it's okay. My videos of handgun and rifles never get touched. All three of cans pulled in hours don't get any more. If you're YouTube has some weird things about pointing at the camera and other things.
So two things. Well, maybe more than that. I can speculate, but I don't know for sure. You can hit me up if you want to dive down the rabbit hole and escalate some stuff and really get into the nitty gritty about it, because it's a on case basis. Honestly, you got to deal with this shit. So, are there people out there that don't like you? Well, you got to ask that question, because they can mass report and do all kinds of crazy things. So. The only thing where you really get into issues with cans, with suppressors, is putting them on and taking them off. Technically, that's not even supposed to be a problem, but taking them on, putting them on and taking them off can be construed as, quote, modification, depending on how it's picked up by the algorithm or the goofball, non-educated human eyes that may be looking at it. And then the second part of that, I guess, would be, I would need more info, because you're saying they're taking them down. So what do you mean by they're taking them down? Because are they giving you a slappity slap on the wrist and saying, we know you didn't really mean to do this, probably, blah, blah, blah. You're not going to get a warning, or this is just a warning, or are you actually getting strikes on your channel? Because that shows the level of severity that you're of the violation, and so that could be something too. Another thing is, if just random fucking people are uploading gun videos, that's problematic. That's the whole live issue, is people don't have gun channels, and then they're handling guns on their lives. And that's why we're in the pickle where the community can't really handle anything on lives. It's not by us gun people. It's by people that don't have gun channels. And it's criminals, and it's gang behavior, and it's stupid shit like that. It's not people just in their everyday life that's doing that's the bad actors, right? But unfortunately, we get caught in the middle. And so by showing certain things that are odd, this is why you want to try to stay consistent within a niche, because when you start deviating outside the niche, especially in things that have their own applicable policies when it comes to YouTube, that can become problematic because you haven't established any authority on the channel. Like me, I can do it all day, every fucking day, because the AI, the algorithm's going to see it and go, oh, this fucking gun channel, this dude's got hundreds, thousands, whatever, of fucking videos of guns. It's all good. And so they're trying to head things off at the pass so it's not like a problem. Yeah, he says that he never got any strikes. So yeah, it's all low tier shit. So
Yeah.
and you're assuming that it's a suppressor too, without looking at stuff and being able to parse it. And I see that all the time where people assume they got in trouble for something, and oftentimes it's a false flag. Let's be honest. But when it's not, let's assume they are guilty of something. Typically, it's not. They're not guilty of what they think they're guilty of. So it could be totally be something else in the picture. I mean, if you were doing it, if you were had a suppressor on a gun, like inside, and it was clearly inside your house, or you're like a domicile of some sort was in the frame, or like it was clear you were in your backyard, you were not at a range, because that's a really big thing. Like any firearms use policy does state that you need to be in the woods, an open area, on a range, that sort of thing. So if it looks like it's in any type of an urban environment, it could have been for that, not even the suppressor.
That's true.
A lot of ifs. Like I said, sadly it's on a case by case. I consult with gun tubers every week, multiple gun tubers, on trying to figure out what their exact issues were. So
I got called down for being a weirdo, dude. So don't take it bad.
A weirdo for touching one.
Yeah, touching one in a video.
Shame on you.
Very shame. Hey, have you seen the? Did you see that? I guess it was late last night. They've struck down the pistol brace thing, permanent injunction, or whatever it is. So basically nullified the ATF's ruling or finding.
Oh, that's been forever ago, bro.
No, it just happened yesterday, I guess. It's still been going on, but the ATF's been consistently trying to bring it back, and they got their PP slapped hardcore, I guess, yesterday.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I get what you're saying.
And yeah, I mean, like, it's totally done now. Like, they can't even bring it back up.
Yeah. Well, it was pretty much, except for formalities. Months ago, it was. I don't even know how long ago now, but months ago it was over. There was nothing ATF could do. But it had to play out. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people have to understand. I harp about that all the time. The court has their procedures that all that shit has to go. You have to go through. Everything has to go through the right hoops. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's all it was. Yeah. But you were good. We knew it was going to be. Now they can always come back later and rewrite some shit or redo some shit or something else 2 or 3 years, 5 years from now, something like that. But I think in that meantime, depending on how the election goes, we're going to have other fights that are going to be a lot more pressing, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure.
I don't tend to trust polls, but some of the polls I'm seeing worry me a little bit. And if things get too crazy, it could also affect down ticket, and that's where we're going to have a problem. A President Kamala doesn't worry me nearly as much as a President Kamala with Congress. So
yeah,
we've got to keep down tickets secure. On a good note, I have seen a couple of special elections that seats have flipped from blue to red. So,
there seems to be a groundswell of red right now. As a matter of fact, I was just reading today that a Democrat senator, I think, from California is flipping Republican because she can't stand the party.
Well, I
Yeah.
meant the seat. I meant the lost election. The seat flipped.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to. But yeah, that's happening too. There's lots of them that are going independent, or something.
What's up, Michigan Christian? You're here just in time for the closing bell. So it'll be getting ready to head on out for the evening. I'm going to get up early and go shoot tomorrow.
Me too.
And do some cool stuff. And then I'll be back on tomorrow night to do the show, as always. Just normal stuff, guys. Normal stuff.
I think Arthur Dye you need to take off and go to the Ghost event next weekend. Hang out with me and Grid. Just saying.
Yeah.
I would be so lost, but it's very cool stuff.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be lost. My wife will be there. She'll show you around. I can find some other chicks for you to hang with too.
Oh, there's always gun bunnies. Don't worry about that. It's always gun bunnies.
That's become less and less of a thing, actually. But I hear you.
Yeah. All right.
We've got a lot of women that actually know how to shoot now, not just strippers that they hire for the event.
Well, now that's true. Yeah, I gotta look and see how the World Shoot is doing. So we'll see how they're doing. My friend Lanny Barnes is shooting, and she's awesome. She's an Olympian, did biathlon, and now she does action shooting, 3-gun mostly.
Biathlon's so amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
all that skiing, cross country skiing, and then have to shoot precision rifle.
Yeah, that's what she told me. The secret behind rifle, keeping the heart rate up, not down.
Yeah, keeping it consistent.
Mm-hmm. Well, what she's saying is that so there's a specific beat per minute that she wants to come off the skis at, because if it's too low, every time your heart beats it, the gun moves a lot. So, but if it's moving really fast, it's a very shallow. Your muscles have a very shallow motion, and you miss by less.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying though. If you come off of them, that's what I was getting at, and your heart rate changes very much.
Mm-hmm.
From what back and forth. That's what I was getting at. Yeah, that's what I meant by when I said change. I meant like if you're looking at Arthur Dye can help me out there probably. She's more the medical chick, and I'm a medical dummy. But you know how you see the flat line, it goes beep, but before that it goes up and down and up and down. That's what I meant by consistent. It's a closer together. It's a shorter wavelength.
Yeah, shorter wavelength. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So what she educated me on was I had, like most people, thought that when I come into position, like the last 3 or 4 steps, I would slow down, take deep breaths, try and relax the muscles and lower my heart rate as I come into position. She's like, no, that's wrong.
Yeah. Run
hard into position, keep that heart rate up, and get the shots off before your heart rate starts dropping. Because again, when you're that amplitude, right? So if it's thump 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 thump, or it's where you're just like fast. That's really awesome.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm going to end the show. It's been a great night. I hope you guys had a good time. All the wars were cool tonight with the membership drive. That was awesome. Really enjoyed it, and it looked like the odds of that was truly amazing to watch. And to be honest, there towards the end, we had a couple of guys kind of hurling some insults around, and that was awesome. I was kind of watching that too. Virginia Redneck, the legend, Grid One. You're here just in time to catch me go, buddy. But tell you what, I'll be back tomorrow night at 8:05 Central Standard Time. That's 9:05 on Eastern Time, and it flows out from there. So I'll be back tomorrow night with more good stuff. Tomorrow night will be a chill stream. So I will be cycling people through up on the stage, assuming you behave yourselves and don't take all night to say what you got to say. We'll have a great time. I really appreciate the $1.99 contribution there, Virginia Redneck. You guys have a great night. I'm going to send you over to Speakeasy. Go watch some Verbal Combat. Learn to be a better debater. Have a great rest of your evening. And don't go away mad. Just go away. Can't stay here. Get off my lawn. See you guys.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Bye.